Damp and moldy becomes clean and healthy. And their French drains, vapor barriers, and encapsulation techniques turn crawl spaces into a Disney set. Yeah, okay, that probably went a bit far. But with over 35 years experience, they have a lot of homeowners enjoying their basements again. Think Michaelis. And think how nice it would be to get rid of foundation cracks, basement leaks, damp smells, and all the nightmares that come with them. Water, storms, fire, and foundations. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, looking at the south side, eastbound 465 slows from the White River over to Harding Street. And we do have a crash stop 11 Road at Madison Avenue. Traffic sponsored by Comcast Business. Help your business thrive and stay connected with the Comcast Business Complete Connectivity Solution. Comcast Business, powering possibilities. Restrictions apply. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Should be a great start to your work week. Highs in the upper 40s to near 50 with a mix of sun and clouds. Lows will bottom out in the low 40s, and we're in store for a few stray showers during the day on Tuesday with our highs in the lower 50s. I'm Wish TV, Storm Track 8 Stephanie Mead for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it.
Hammer is right over there. I'm Nigel. This Chinese balloon thing, this spy balloon, Biden's balloon, as I call it, it's just embarrassing. It makes our country look weak. It makes us look like we're slow to respond to incoming threats. I mean, look, the disaster in Afghanistan and that pullout is on a higher level than this, but just add this to the list of things that make our country look weak and incompetent.
If this were a test run for China of some capacity, just to see what they could get away with, the answer is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So Biden said that he ordered that Chinese spy balloon to be shot down on Wednesday, but was overruled by General Mark Milley.
On Wednesday, when I was briefed on the balloon, I ordered the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided, without doing damage to anyone on the ground, they decided that the best time to do that was as it got over water outside within the 12-mile limit. They successfully took it down.
And the recommendation was from your national security.
I told them to shoot it down.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
But the recommendation
They said to me, let's wait till the safest place to do it.
So the commander-in-chief makes a call. Yeah. Listen, I'm no Biden fan, but he is the commander-in-chief. He makes the call, and Milley says, no. Like, this tells you he's not calling the shots here, right? Could you imagine if even Barack Obama, right, take Trump aside, you know how Trump would respond. Even Obama, I'm sorry, you're telling me no?
Well, if you recall, Barack Obama wanted to go in and kill Osama bin Laden, and who was the one guy in the room saying, you better not do that?
That would be one Joe Biden.
Just a little side note there.
And he always delivers speeches where he mentions the raid like he was somebody that approved of it. Joe Biden never approved of that. And now he's got Milley. And keep in mind, Milley was also the same dude that leaked information to China, back-channeled it against Trump when he was the president.
I love how Biden goes, yeah, I told him to shoot it down as soon as possible. And they go, yeah, well, actually, we'll wait. Actually, you know what? We're going to wait on that. He goes, Biden says, shoot it down. And I said, well, okay, we'll shoot it down, but we're going to wait. That's like kind of like when Trump made Chris Christie order the meatloaf. Hey, look, you can look at the menu, get whatever you want, but you're ordering the meatloaf.
And you're going to like it. I love that story. I totally forgot about that.
Biden, I'll shoot down the balloon in our own sweet time. You just sit tight there, old man.
You let this spy balloon go all the way across the country.
It's crazy, man.
Spying in on some of our nuclear missile silos and various restricted government areas all across the country. And the excuse we were given was, well, we couldn't shoot it down because, it might crash to the ground and hurt somebody. So you're telling me that if a plane was in the air and you knew it was going to crash into a building, let's say the White House, go back to September 11th. If you knew there was a plane in the air, you're telling me you wouldn't shoot it down because you didn't want people to get hurt on the ground? It's an easy fix. All you have to do is fire off the EAS system, the emergency alert system. You have your local authorities tell you to get into a place where you feel safe, comfortable, and you do what you have to do. If national security is at stake, don't tell us, well, what can you do? It's over land. I mean, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
And they could have shut it down in the islands in Alaska. Some of the most sparsely populated areas on the planet where there's nobody. They should have shot it down then.
They knew about this thing a while back.
Yeah.
And the thing that bothers me the most is that had some folks in Montana not said, what the hell is that? Biden wouldn't have said a word. He didn't want anybody to know this was going on. Because
he didn't want to ruin his Secretary of State's trip to China.
Bingo.
Blinken was on his way to meet President Xi, which is unusual because Blinken is on a lower level than Xi, and Xi doesn't really meet with those kinds of people. So this was going to be a big meeting.
And he was trying to keep this a secret as long as he could. That's so embarrassing, and it makes the United States look so incredibly weak. You mentioned it earlier, the Afghan debacle, what's happening at the border, these balloons, it's embarrassing. And now they're trying to shift the blame over to Donald Trump. You knew sooner or later it was going to be Donald Trump's fault, right?
Sure.
So there were reports that came out that Trump had this happen to him multiple times. These reports came out over the weekend. Well, here's the thing. Trump, his Secretary of Defense, who hates him, his Secretary of State, and two former DNIs say there were no Chinese spy balloons during their tenure, but one source, an unnamed source from the Biden administration, claimed to a liberal news network, oh yeah, it happened, so now we're running on it. Don't you think if this had happened before and people knew, this would have been leaked out a long time ago?
It could have made Trump look horrible.
Everything from Trump's presidency was leaked out. This is a pretty big piece of information. I promise you, this would have been leaked out earlier. Now, Representative Mike Waltz said this morning, quote, there's speculation that the Pentagon deliberately did not tell President Trump of the spy balloons because they thought Trump would be too proactive and too aggressive.
Provocative.
And proactive. They knew Donald Trump would blow this thing out of the air.
And then brag about it.
Right. So let that sink in for just a minute. If Representative Mike Waltz is correct that the Pentagon kept information from Donald Trump, this is a complete failure of the way things are supposed to work here. A United States general did not notify the commander-in-chief of a potential threat to the homeland. Now, General Mattis was the defense secretary at this time. If this is true, and again, we don't know if it is, but if this is true, he's got some questions to answer here.
Here's something else that people aren't keying in on. Here's what you need to know, is that the lie is changing. First, it was, this happened a bunch of times during Trump. He didn't do anything about it. The Biden administration now is saying that the incidents were not discovered until after Trump had already left. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is mainstream media, which is, the right leg of the, the direct arm of the Democratic Party, is trying to make it look like Biden is this military badass, like he's Tom Cruise shooting stuff out of the sky, and Trump was incompetent and didn't do anything when the same thing happened while he was in office. The story has changed from that now to, they didn't actually discover the Chinese spy balloons until after Trump left office, and they're not telling us how they know that.
So in 24 hours, the story has changed.
Yeah, but the narrative is still there, and that's all people know now. You go with this lie about how Trump let this happen under his tutelage, under his administration, and now it's like, we didn't find out about these supposed balloons that were flying, quote, near Texas and near Florida, not over, but near. If there were really any, we didn't find out about it until after Trump left office.
Listen,
but what is everybody saying now? That's, what is everybody saying?
If Donald Trump knew about these balloons and he did not act on it, shame on Donald Trump. If General Mattis knew about these balloons, that if they existed, and did not tell Donald Trump, that's ridiculously embarrassing, and he needs to be held accountable. And of course, we know Joe Biden knew about this, and he let it go all the way across the country. You know, we've talked about this before. Where else, other than Washington politics, would this policy make sense? If you were a police officer and you knew you had the bad guy, you knew where he was at, you cornered him, you could track him, you would arrest him right away. You don't let the bad guy go across the country, kill 14 more people, and say, we made our arrest. Thank God we kept people safe. No, that's not how any of this works.
Did you see in South Carolina, they had to warn residents not to shoot at the spy balloon?
God bless them.
You know, they shot this thing down. They shot this thing off the coast of Myrtle Beach, I believe. And by the way, compelling television. It was. Were you watching it? I saw it happen live. It was crazy. But they actually had to put out a tweet asking people not to shoot at it. And later, there was a little short press conference in South Carolina, which we have for you now.
All right, listen up. As chief of police, which, by the way, is not a racist term, I would just like to remind all citizens not to shoot at Chinese spy balloons, or any other balloons for that matter, because someone shot down a giant red balloon yesterday that was actually flying over a car dealership. Another person shot down a drifting Mylar birthday balloon with a picture of SpongeBob on it. There's no reason for that. And also, we had a drunk guy shooting at yesterday's full moon. Please, cut it out, peoples. And another reminder, not to shoot zombies here in town. Those are just tweakers. That's all. Let's roll.
Got it. Oh, it's wow. Some amazing times we live in. I love the brave patriots of South Carolina. We're like, I got this. I got this. Matt Bear, what's going on?
All right, looking at eastbound 70 right now on the east side of 465. It's a crash on the left shoulder. It is causing us trouble. We are stopped back to Shadeland Avenue. Again, that's eastbound 70 on the east side. And a crash on the south side, stop 11 Road at Madison Avenue. Traffic sponsored by Staples Store. Staples Stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store, staplesconnect.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Hey, can we get a big round of applause for Allison's first day here?
Hey, Allison!
Hello!
As the official producer of the Hammer and Nigel show.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Are you sticking with Home and Garden, though?
I am.
You
yes.
are? Okay. I know you're a big part of that program.
Yeah.
Something about that show. People just don't want to quit. People don't want to leave the Home and Garden show.
I physically can at this point. I just can't.
Well, Pat Sullivan threatens you.
It's
That's
true.
what happens.
That's number one, yeah.
Right. It's like the mafia. Pat Sullivan will have a mafia-style shakedown if anybody tries to leave.
Denny's the bouncer at the door.
We're so excited that you're here,
Yes.
and to have a female perspective on this show, I think it's going to go a long way.
Thank you. I'm
because
very excited.
Every once in a while, it gets a little dudish
really?
in here.
Interesting.
And now we would like to have the voice of reason come in and say, hey, shut the hell up.
Perfect. I can do that.
44 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
You know, Lotus Center really has reinvented men's health care. They exclusively specialize in men's wellness. And it's not just about testosterone at the Low T Center. Low T exclusively specializes in all your levels, not just testosterone. They determine the cause of any symptoms that you're having and whether you're a candidate for low T or maybe something else like low thyroid or sleep apnea.
The Low T Center really is your one-stop shop for all things men's health. Get that annual wellness exam done at the Low T Center, because in addition to testosterone things, they can check you for prostate issues, thyroid issues, liver and kidney function, cholesterol, glucose levels, and more. So what are you waiting for? Make that appointment right now at the Low T Center. The best part, most health insurance is covered, and worst case scenario, it's less than $100 cash pay. LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 38,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Most people approaching retirement age are on the lookout for ways to save money. And when it comes to saving on your Medicare prescriptions, look no further than your neighborhood Walgreens. We're a preferred network pharmacy with many plans nationwide, which could mean lower copays for you. Fill your prescriptions at a Walgreens pharmacy and start saving today. Walgreens participates with the AARP Medicare RX from United Healthcare, WellCare, and Cigna. Walgreens participates with other plans. See walgreens.com/Medicare for details.
Does have the coolest deals ever for keeping you warm and keeping more of that warm air in your house and the cold air out. Why Window Nation? Why now, you ask? Because 43% of your utility bills is heating cost, and you can save up to 30% on your heating bills and increase the value of your home with brand new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. Pay zero down, zero payments, 0% financing for 24 months. That's 2 years, no interest, and you can get 2 free windows with every 2 you buy, no limit.
You don't pay anything for 24 months. Now, that's on top of this amazing deal where you buy 2 windows and you get 2 for free. And it's any style of window from Window Nation. There's no limit. This deal is a game changer. Pay nothing for 2 years. Call Window Nation right now. 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION. Or go to windownation.com, but you have to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
Still thinking about what to get her for Valentine's Day? Make that special occasion last forever and surprise her with a gift from Pierce Jewelers in Carmel. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's lab-grown or mined diamond store.
Man, it was must-see TV for me on Saturday. First, the Chinese spy balloon. I think Fox was the only one. I thought I heard Tony say Fox was the only one that was following it. I was actually watching it live as it got shot down. And so that lasted for an hour or two, but it led straight into the IU Purdue game.
Man, how many beers did you down between Spy Balloon and the IU Purdue game?
Let me see. I don't have enough hands to count, actually. It is the Hammer and Nigel show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there. IU beating Purdue, number 1 Purdue, over the weekend.
Still number 1 Purdue. They stayed at number 1. The new poll is out, and it helps that some other folks got beat too. Like Tennessee lost and some other folks lost. So Purdue still the number 1 team in the country, and the Hoosiers are up to 18 in the country. It was a fun game.
Yeah, it was ups, downs, highs, lows, emotions running. I was at a party down the street at my neighbor's house at my neighbors Marcus and Deb, and there was IU fans and there was Purdue fans. There was both there. My buddy I was sitting next to, Mike, is a big Purdue fan. Marcus is a Purdue fan, and they were just yelling at each other the entire time because there was a bunch of IU grads there.
Sure. And this is the way it's supposed to be, man. Like, I hope when Indiana goes to West Lafayette in a couple weeks, final Saturday in February, I hope it's rowdy, I hope it's rocking, and I hope the Purdue fans camp out early, because that's the way this game is supposed to be like all the time.
And by the way, just a side note, IU Purdue ladies played the next day.
They did.
Played on
Sold
Sunday.
out.
Sold out. First time since 2000. That was up in Lafayette, though.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And your cousin, by the way, Coach Gerald, happens to be the head coach at Purdue. They were keeping up with the late IU for a little while there.
They were. IU ended up winning that game going away. The Lady Hoosiers are number 2 in the country right now. So, it's been a big weekend of basketball. The atmosphere at Assembly Hall, man.
I couldn't imagine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know what was more rowdy. Yesterday, when Purdue came in as number 1, or when that Kentucky team came in undefeated, that Watford hit the shot at the end of the game. Those are the 2 most electric crowds I think Assembly Hall's had in a while.
I think the Kentucky one's more electric just because of how it ended.
Right. And the fact that it's Kentucky. Like, who do you think is a more hated rival for Indiana? If you're an Indiana fan, who do you hate more, Purdue or Kentucky?
Oh, I would think Purdue, probably, right? I mean, it's a historic rivalry for sure.
Right. And you play them twice a year, though. Like in the past, when it was Kentucky, you'd only play them once a year. And then Calipari became a little bit of a weasel and didn't want to play anymore because they got beat and the students stormed the court. So hit us up on Twitter at Hammer and Nigel. If you are an IU fan, who do you hate more, Kentucky or Purdue? Here is IU head coach Tone Loke talking about the atmosphere.
We got the best fans in college basketball. I mean, no doubt in my mind. I've seen it for 40-some years of my life. I mean, since I came in here in 1976, the fan base here has not wavered one bit, and they were fantastic tonight.
He does sound like Tone Loke, doesn't he?
Ever since Jake Query pointed that out, I can't stop hearing it now.
So are you okay with the court storming yesterday?
Oh, yeah, always. I don't care if you're
they're number 1, you know?
a blue
They'd be
blood or
yeah.
not. Let the college kids have fun, man, especially Indiana. As much as those kids have had the tuition jacked up on them the last decade, let them get their money's worth. Let them storm the court a little bit. But I will say this. There's some miserable people on social media. Like, if you want to find who the most miserable bastard in the room is, it's the old curmudgeon saying, I don't like the court storming. You should be above that. You're Indiana. These college kids at Indiana, they're not used to the team being good. They're not.
True.
So let them have a good time. And as for the Purdue fans, knock it off. Knock off the IU is our little brother stuff that I also saw on social media. Because I think I can be honest here. I'm coming from an SEC perspective. I'm a Tennessee Volunteers guy. So you heard me criticize Indiana. Purdue fans, cut the crap with the little brother stuff. Win something of note, and then maybe we can shift the conversation. Your banners are dusty. Yeah, well, there's something to collect dust at Assembly Hall. So stop it. New York City will always be a Yankees town, even though the Mets may be better from time to time. State of Indiana. Indiana's always going to be Big Brother. That's the way it is right now. That's the hard reality. Sorry if you don't want to hear it. Doesn't mean Purdue's not good. Hell, I think they're probably the favorite to win the national championship this year. But knock off the little brother stuff. It makes you look bad. It's embarrassing. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
So, the other day, I bought an extremely chatty...
Boring story time.
Make that an extremely catty cockatoo.
You're welcome.
Apparently, the pet store won't take it back. But, hey, I'll manage.
I love that for you.
Just like I manage without home internet.
No, you don't.
Sure, my mobile hotspot is slow and makes streaming shows unbearable.
Aw, Bertie likes to stream.
But I'm making do. Oh no, who's this?
My lady friend. It's mating season, duh.
No home internet? It's not that bad.
No, not there.
It is that bad. Don't settle. Switch to Xfinity and get one line of unlimited mobile and home internet together for $50 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit your local Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment tax and fees extra. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of data usage. Offer ends 3/21/23.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful.
That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The family wants the footage released. Clear skies, 45 degrees on Monument Circle with nothing on your radar. Some clouds might move in later with a low of 41. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:31. Anthony Macklin was shot by Indianapolis police while sleeping in his grandma's driveway New Year's Eve, says family attorney Stephen Wagner.
Well, it's been 5 weeks since this police action shooting, and what have we heard from IMPD? Crickets.
Wagner says the family has watched body cam footage and it doesn't support IMPD's narrative that Macklin may have reached for his gun. Wagner says IMPD's claim the footage is inconclusive is incorrect. The family has filed a tort claim against the city of Indianapolis and the officers involved. There was a protest in downtown Indy against police brutality. The group known as the Party for Socialism and Liberation organized the protest on Monument Circle. Spokesman Noah Leiniger saying they want to keep the deaths of Tyree Nichols and Herman Whitfield III in the public eye.
We think it's important to be out here because if we're not out here and this falls out of public consciousness, then it's going to be, another year until the next person who gets murdered by police. And we're not here for that.
He says they're concerned that the officers involved in both cases will not be held accountable. The U.S. military is recovering debris from the suspected Chinese spy balloon that was shot down off the coast of South Carolina last weekend. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said they'll be able to exploit what was recovered and learn more about what the balloon was doing. WIBC's Kurt Darling reports on why it took the government so long to shoot down the balloon.
It was to ensure your safety. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, the former mayor of South Bend, tells CNN
the debris field that was created by this balloon when it was shot down was about 7 miles long.
He says shooting it down over land would have been a big risk of debris falling on someone. It was finally shot down just off of Myrtle Beach. Regardless, some Hoosier lawmakers like Congressman Jim Banks saying the whole situation made President Biden look weak. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
General Atomics is offering to give 2 Reaper drones to Ukraine. The company, which is based out of San Diego, says they'll sell the drones to the country for $1 and will also provide training for pilots and mechanics. The Wall Street Journal says it all needs to be approved by the U.S. government, but the drones can fly for up to 24 hours, and they can carry both bombs and missiles. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:33.
Why does We Grow Hair Indy have the best hair transplant results? Because they have the best technology. And I'm living proof of it. This is Rob. I'm out and about in the community for this radio station, and I feel so much better because We Grow Hair Indy has the technology that restored both my hairline and my crown area. And this year, they can restore yours too. Call them right now at 317-522-2995. Here's Darren Andrews to explain.
Having that strong hairline again completely changes the way you see yourself. It makes a huge difference. A lot of people think the crown cannot be transplanted. It's actually an area of specialty for us with our multi-unit hair grafting.
My hair is going to grow the rest of my life. I'm very happy I called We Grow Hair Indy. Call right now for your free evaluation. 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. WeGrowHairIndy.com. The gold standard in hair restoration.
With traffic at 334, here's Matt Bear.
Yeah, eastbound 70 east side, crash at 465. It's on the left shoulder, slowing us down a little bit. It is better since the last time we talked, but we still have a bit of a slowdown going through that area. South side, eastbound 465, slowing up from Man Road over to Harding Street. And a crash on the south side, Stomp 11 Road at Madison Avenue. Traffic sponsored by the Spring Suburban Indie Home Show. The Spring Suburban Indie Home and Outdoor Living Show offers free parking and $5 tickets at suburbanindieshows.com. February 10th through the 12th at Grand Park in Westfield. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
For tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild. Low temperature around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, rain returns to the forecast. A few spotty showers early. High temperatures in the low 50s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The only way to bag a classy lady is to give her 2 tickets to the gun show.
It's Monday Gun Day with the gun guy.
Just watch out for the guns. They'll get you.
Guy Relford.
Stop calling your arms guns.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 93 WIBC.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is here, also joining us live in studio. Second Amendment attorney, licensed firearms instructor, Guy Relford. Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm great, and thanks as always to our sponsor, Fort Liberty Firearms in Avon, 8401 East Highway 36. Great place to buy firearms, ammunition, or accessories. Check out my buddies at the Fort at fortlibertyfirearms.com.
Got some Second Amendment stuff to get to here, but just your initial thoughts on what I'm calling Biden's balloon, even though it's the Chinese spy balloon, it's Biden's balloon, and how embarrassing it is for this country, how weak it makes us look.
Well, it's a good point, because my initial thought was to laugh, and the reason I was laughing is because all the great memes that came out.
That's what we were talking about during the commercial break, right before you walked in.
Miss the memes.
I mean, my favorite one was "Dear Eric, Happy Birthday, Fang Fang." That was my absolute favorite.
I've seen Belichick. I've seen the Houston Astros.
So there were some really fantastic memes, but at the bottom line is that it embarrasses us as a country, that we sat there as a country and allowed what we knew to be a spy balloon float over pretty much the length of the country. And the reason we didn't shoot it down earlier, ostensibly, was because, we didn't want to imperil anybody on the ground. When I first heard about this thing, it was over Montana. Have you flown over Montana? I mean,
it's some of the most, like I said earlier, sparsely populated areas
it's
of the
beautiful.
world, and Alaska for that matter.
Well, when it came in, right, it was across Alaska, and it's beautiful out there. It's spectacular. I spent a lot of time riding a motorcycle through Montana, but my goodness, you could certainly pick a spot to down that thing before it went across the rest of the country. So I considered it to be, an embarrassment, a black eye for America. We've suffered so many of those under this administration, and I think this is just one more.
So let's get into a couple things happening at the Indiana State House. The General Assembly still happening. We've been keeping our eye on a couple different 2A bills making their way through. What's the latest?
Yeah, we're still frustrated because we can't get the chairman of the Courts and Criminal Code Committee in the House to give us a hearing on the self-defense bill that would allow, for instance, a business owner to avoid a felony if they simply point a gun at someone and say, "You're not going to destroy my business." Someone who wants to come in and firebomb their business or otherwise destroy their business. Because right now, if you point a gun at someone merely to protect your property, including your business, that's a felony in Indiana, which is ridiculous, and we're trying to get that fixed. So that's a downside. We can't get Representative McNamara to give us a hearing, and that's frustrating a lot of people.
So right now, if somebody throws a Molotov cocktail through a business and the business owner comes out and points his weapon at that guy, both people could go to jail.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's still arson. That's a good point, Jason. It's still arson, so the bad guy goes to jail. But if I'm merely protecting my property, so I'm not saying, no, I thought he was going to throw that at me. I thought he was attacking me. I'm merely protecting my business. or my other property. I could be protecting my car or my wallet, whatever it is. If I merely point a gun at someone, not to defend my life or my safety, but to protect my property in Indiana under the state of the law, I go to jail on a felony. As ridiculous as that is. And this is the third year we've had the same bill that would fix that. And we've pushed it every time, and we can't get a hearing from a Republican who chairs the Courts and Criminal Code Committee. And that's frustrating to me and inexplicable to me. I can't really understand why not.
So what's the reason here? Because it feels like every time the people of Indiana feel like something needs to happen, it takes 3 to 4 times longer than it should. I mean, Sunday sales of alcohol. This was something the people of Indiana wanted overwhelmingly for years, but we were always told, we know what's best for you. Well, live dealers at the casinos in Shelbyville and Anderson. People have been wanting that for years. When I worked there, it was Pence and Bosma that made my life hell, saying, well, that's an expansion of gaming. You've already got a dealer there hitting a button. We just wanted to give them cards. But it took 3 times longer. Constitutional carry. That's another example.
10 years.
Other states have been doing this for a long time, but, quote, conservative red Indiana was late to the party on that. Why are we always behind?
I don't know. It's frustrating to me. I mean, again, as a 2A guy, I'm thrilled with where we are generally in Indiana. I would take our gun laws literally over any other state in the country. People always come and say, oh, well, there's pro-gun states like Texas. I would take our gun laws over Texas's any time. So we're still trying to make improvements. But overall, especially now that we've got constitutional carry done, I love where we are, and the General Assembly deserves credit for that. But to your question and to your point, I don't know why it takes so long. The inertia, the propensity of an object to remain, still when it's still, that has a powerful effect in the Indiana General Assembly. I think in this particular circumstance where we have such a common sense bill, I hate to use that term in the context of gun control because it gets used against us all the time, but where you ought to say, if I was a business owner, I ought to be able to point my gun at somebody who wants to throw a Molotov cocktail through the store of my business, the window of my business, and destroy my business. I shouldn't go to jail on a felony. You think that's pretty common sense. You have to speculate a little bit, and the honest answer is I don't know why we can't get a hearing. I have a feeling it's out of fear for having to face the mad moms, who are going to come in just like they did against constitutional carry, just like they did against my self-defense immunity bill that we passed in 2019. They'll come in and say something like, well, this promotes vigilante justice and there'll be blood in the streets. And oh my, we're promoting violence in Indiana, when of course none of that ever happens. When we hear that same shrill response,
these excuses they always give are the worst.
Always.
Go back to the alcohol bill for just a moment. And I remember Nigel and I on the air, and one of the excuses that a representative gave us as to why certain places can sell beer cold and other places can't. There may be out of control teens drinking beer in the aisle.
Oh, yeah. I remember this.
Out of control teenagers drinking cold beer left and right.
Oh, I was wondering where you're going with that. That's hilarious.
Even though I'm a 2A guy, I've always wanted Sunday sales forever. And I actually started a Facebook page. And it said Sunday sales in 2018, 2000, whatever the year was, we really thought we could make it happen. And people came on there accusing me of all kinds of things. And one person came on there and posted and said, I grew up with a father as an alcoholic, and I just look forward to Sundays because I thought, I might have one day without my father, being able to go out and buy liquor and get drunk, and now you're trying to take that away from me. And I said, your dad wasn't smart enough to buy more on Saturday?
Right.
I mean,
and you know what? They still screwed up the law because you can't buy until noon.
Well,
so
noon to 8.
Yeah. So
noon to 8.
You have the 8-hour window.
Yeah. So on Saturday at 6 a.m., I'm good. But on Sunday, not till noon.
And every once in a while, they'll get cute and make an exception. Like when the Final Four was here, or if it's Indy 500 weekend. It's okay then, but other times, absolutely not.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's just no logic to this. And let's face it, when the government just gets the hell out of our way, life is better. And that's pretty much my whole legislative agenda, is getting the government the hell out of our way.
Monday Gun Day with Guy Relford here on the Hammer and Nigel show. Another gun law found to be unconstitutional. You sent me a story this morning about the Fifth Circuit reversing a conviction of a Texas man.
Well, yeah, and this is a big deal because what this is this is exactly what I came and talked to you guys about and that I predicted after the Supreme Court's decision in the Bruin case. And I'll bring that back around. But what this is the Fifth Circuit, and that's a federal circuit that just has jurisdiction over Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. But that federal circuit has come out and said the law that says someone under a domestic violence order of protection, that if they possess a gun, that's a felony and they go to jail for 10 years. Okay. The Fifth Circuit looked at that under the new test defined by Bruin. And real quickly, I'll back up. Bruin just dealt with the law in New York that said you can't get a handgun license without some government bureaucrat having to basically touch you on the shoulder with their sword and deem you worthy, right? It was discretionary. It was a may issue system, and the Supreme Court said, no, that's unconstitutional. We're setting it aside. And I said at the time, and I said it right here with you guys in this studio, I said that impacts only a few states that have similar systems, but the bigger deal is that the Supreme Court said, here's how you decide two-way cases. They said, you don't look at this balancing test that courts had been using for years where they said, well, if there's a compelling state interest like keeping people safe, a little infringement's okay. They came out and said, no, that's...
a little infringement.
Yeah,
that's like being a little pregnant, isn't it?
I mean, and I'm making it a little more simplistic than it was, but that's basically exactly what they said. So they said, no, we're not doing this balancing anymore. You look at the text and history and tradition around constitutional protections in a particular area, in this case, the Second Amendment, and unless that supports this particular law, it's unconstitutional. That's the new test. I mean, it should have been the test all along. It's been the test in some jurisdictions. Supreme Court made that clear in Bruin. And I said right then, licensing in New York is just the example. That new test is going to set aside gun laws one after the other all across the country. And that's exactly what's happening. It's happening in jurisdiction after jurisdiction. And this decision by the Fifth Circuit says, you know what? Someone who hasn't committed a crime, is not a felon, they haven't committed the crime of domestic battery or any other, they just had an order of protection issued against them, preventing them from doing something that then might be illegal. The idea that person's a prohibited possessor, and if they possess a gun, they go to prison for 10 years, that's not consistent with the text, history, and tradition of the Second Amendment, and similar restrictions that have been in place in this country over this period of time. That's unconstitutional. Now, that's just the Fifth Circuit. Doesn't apply in Indiana, doesn't apply outside those three states I mentioned. But what this is it's an indication of where gun laws and gun restrictions that a lot of us have been calling unconstitutional for a long time, about where that's going to go in this country going forward. That's why it's a big, big deal. And a lot of us are looking at that going, ooh, the gun control people have got to be really nervous right now.
Do you own any guns that could have reached the Chinese spy balloon? No, seriously, they had to put the South Carolina York County Sheriff's Department had to tweet this out. Yes, there are reports that the Chinese balloon is flying over our area at the moment. It's flying 60,000 feet. Don't try to shoot it. Your rifle rounds will not reach it. Be responsible. What comes up goes down.
Well, it's
USA! USA!
There's a dang old balloon.
It's interesting you would ask me that, Nige, because we actually did a little math, which is not my strong suit. Did a little math over the weekend, and I own the most long range rifle I have. I have a beautiful range. It's called an advanced sniper rifle and 300 Win Mag from Bell Precision Rifles, right here in Indiana, one of the best rifle makers in the world. And but it's a 300 Win Mag, and I was doing a little calculation to say, not that I was going to take a shot at this thing, but I was but I was curious, and it looked like I could potentially get to about 60,000 feet. It would be really, really slow and probably not do much damage. In fact, getting ready to turn around and come the other direction in terms of downward. But I looked at that and no, it didn't look like this thing it's something like 70 or 80,000 feet for a while. So it didn't look like I could quite get there. And even if I could reach it, I might be able to just, my bullet might just go kiss it on the forehead and then descend to earth after that.
You had, I'm looking at the gun now. You posted it on your Facebook page. You had like 1,000 likes on that. It's Guy Ralph pointing the gun at somebody and just says spy balloon.
Yeah, well, it's actually my cover picture on my Facebook page, which is there for a reason, by the way. You go to my Facebook page, you see that, you got a problem. You probably don't want to follow me, but no, and it's this beautiful rifle I have. It's a very high velocity, incredible rifle. But no, but when I post that, you're right. A whole bunch of people keep on there going, you couldn't take down the balloon with that, and I'm like, humor. Hello, I'm waving my arms. It's funny, humor. Stay with me.
If anybody has any questions or would like to reach out to you, how do they find you?
It's always relfordlaw.com, man. relfordlaw.com.
Guy, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
You don't have to live in Indiana too long to know that winter means cold. Crazy cold. And winter can be hard on the siding of your home. You got to make sure your siding doesn't have any cracks or breaks, because those cracks can cause leaks and water damage can cost you a lot of money. Do not be worried. Moss Roofing is here to help. From inspections to full replacements, they have plans to fit any budget. Just ask about their payment options. Moss Roofing uses James Hardy siding. It's low maintenance, comes painted, and you get money back when you sell your home because it increases the value of your home. If you're in need of siding help, Moss Roofing is the contractor for you. Contact Moss Roofing at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com, or call 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665, or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Visit shelterinsurance.com to find an agent to help you pick a policy that's right for you. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hey, this is Malia. We often get asked when is the best time to buy, and the answer is today, not tomorrow. With rising utility costs, rising product costs, and missed opportunity costs, which you could be saving with a high-efficiency system. Give us a call today to schedule your free in-depth estimate, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Ooh la la. OMG. Wowza. What will they say when they open your Valentine's Day gift from Shane Company? Visit us today. We have beautiful jewelry crafted by our in-house design team. Unique looks you won't find anywhere else. Like our Toi et Moi necklace. That means you and me in French. This necklace features a natural white sapphire beside a colorful heart-shaped gemstone on a sterling silver chain. It's $175 and it's one of our favorites. Whether you want to spend a little or you want to splurge, at Shane Company, we have so many eye-catching styles with hearts. Or surprise your loved one with a gift that features the romantic colors of Valentine's Day, like our jewelry with natural, vibrant pink sapphires, red rubies, or purple amethyst. For more ideas, browse our Valentine's Day gift guide at shaneco.com. Shipping is fast and free. When they open your gift, it'll be love at first sight.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and shaneco.com.
Winning games and championships is fun, but the true purpose of high school sports is for student athletes to grow as people, not just athletes. I'm Paul Knighty, Commissioner of the IHSAA.
And I'm Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education. Hoosier teachers and coaches care just as much about how student athletes are performing in the classroom as they do about how they're performing on the playing field.
They understand high school sports are a tool to educate and shape the whole student athlete, helping teens become the best versions of themselves.
Our teachers and coaches don't just teach academic and athletic skills, they also encourage communication and collaboration, instill confidence, promote a strong work ethic, and so much more. To all our Hoosier educators and coaches, we are grateful for everything you do.
Fans, buy a ticket to your high school's athletic events and thank our educators for making education-based athletics possible.
This is gratitude. This is appreciation.
This is your IHSAA.
Woodard, Emhart, Henry, Reeves, and Wagner. Over 140 years specializing exclusively in patent, trademark, trade secret, and copyright law and litigation. On the web at uspatent.com.
The Suburban Indie Home and Outdoor Living Spring Show
offers free parking and $5 tickets at suburbanindieshows.com.
February 10th through 12th at Grand Park in Westfield.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baer Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Matt Baer, what's going on?
East side crash eastbound at 7465. It's on the left shoulder. Not slowing us down too much here. Bit of a delay forming up on the west side coming into downtown. It's eastbound 70 slow from Harding to Meridian, Illinois. And stop and go traffic. South side eastbound 465 from Manover to Harding. Traffic sponsored by Howard Bailey Financial. Howard Bailey can show you how to support the life you want to live in retirement. Call 317-852-9153 to learn more. Investment advice offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
46, the American Standard Heating Weather Center here at 93 WIBC.
I love the fact we went long with gun guys, so we're going to have to take another quick break here. But I love the fact that Guy Relford, the gun guy, did the math on whether or not he could use one of his high-powered rifles to shoot down the Chinese balloon. And posted about it. And somebody said, no, you can't shoot down a balloon with that gun.
Those people are the worst. Top stories coming up.
About regenerative medicine now, because people who have joint pain are getting real lasting relief without drugs or surgery. Tony Katz here. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting treatment. They use highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. If you have ongoing joint pain from arthritis or injury, you need to call QC Kinetics. Don't assume that steroids and surgery are your only option. Times have changed, and regenerative medicine can get you moving again with no downtime. So stop taking the pain meds and discover this remarkable alternative that pro athletes have been using for years. Thanks to QC Kinetics, this amazing treatment option is now available for people like you and me who are sick and tired of joint pain. Don't put it off any longer. Spring is coming and you want to enjoy all life has to offer. Call QC Kinetics right now for a totally free consultation with medical professionals in Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and now in Carmel. 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
My wife has several pairs of the naturally nude pajamas from Pajamagram, one for each day of the week. Pretty much, she loves them so much. They feel great. They look great. If you order Pajamagram today and use promo code RADIO, Pajamagram is going to include a free Valentine's Day deluxe packaging, which includes red velvet gift bag, a lotion, some eye mask, and your wife's going to love these. They leave nothing to the imagination. Naturally nude pajamas from Pajamagram.
That's a $40 saving when you use the code RADIO, RADIO, on this best-selling Valentine's Day gift experience. This sold out before Valentine's Day last year. So if you want the amazing naturally nude pajamas, you have to act right now. Here's what you do. Go to pajamagram.com. That's pajamagram.com and use the code RADIO. Get those naturally nude pajamas. She's going to love them, but you have to tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Did you know that the flu can put you at risk for pneumonia, which can lead to a hospital stay or even death? Did you know that inflation is over 7%? Want to fight both? Brangle Family Medicine and Research is testing Sanofi's investigational flu vaccine that uses new technology to fight the flu. Spots are limited, and compensation of up to $1,300 may be provided. Call or text 317-671-9168 to see if you qualify. 317-671-9168. Receive study-related care at no cost to you. 317-671-9168.
Better sleep can change your life. That's because sleep is a core pillar of health, just like nutrition and exercise. So if you're not getting enough of it, ZQL invites you to take our Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Get weekly sleep tips and explore how ZQL, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, can help you. ZQL's Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Visit ZQL.com.
Find ZQL at Walmart or Walmart.com and start your journey to better sleep today.
Guys, Valentine's Day is fast approaching, so that means a visit to Barrington Jewels and Clearwater Crossing. You must see the truly one-of-a-kind creations at Barrington. You'll find exquisite and unique bracelets, earrings, necklaces, and more, all at great prices and with special financing available. Save time and effort and shop Barrington Jewels first. Diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, rubies, and more, just waiting to dazzle your special someone. Get to Barrington Jewels today. And remember, you haven't seen a diamond until you've seen a Barrington diamond.
Hi, this is Denny Smith. Periodic maintenance works, especially when it comes to your well and well pump. And C&J Well can schedule your preventive 6-point well care today, including a thorough piping exam, a switch analysis, a pressure tank check, a flow evaluation, and an AMPS test on the pump, and a bacteria sampling. Normally $450, but it's $100 off right now for $350. Keep your water source healthy and dependable. C&J Well Company. They're local, they're exceptional, they're affordable. 317-852-WELL or go to cjforwater.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, why a family has filed a tort claim against Indianapolis. The reaction of a homicide involving a 17-year-old over the weekend, and John Herrick reports on your forecast. That's coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
Who knew what, when? I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Those kinds of questions being raised for both the Biden and Trump administrations as current officials claim there were previous incidents of Chinese spy balloons in U.S. airspace not detected at the time. Defense officials telling Fox News minor incursions weren't reported to the Joint Chiefs Chair, Defense Secretary, or President. Former CIA Director Mike Pompeo just telling Fox News.
It seems unimaginable to me that someone on my team working over at the Pentagon with CIA and State, we have liaison officers, someone in the political chain of command over at the Department of Defense, it seems unimaginable that somehow this wouldn't have gotten to the political leadership in the White House or State Department or at the CIA. I can't figure out how that happened. If it did, someone needs to explain it to me and to the American public as well.
On Capitol Hill, bipartisan questions about the handling of last week's balloon, including calls for a hearing. Meantime, remnants of the Chinese spy balloon have been recovered from the ocean after Saturday's shoot down, being sent to the FBI lab. The White House won't say if the balloon is being written into the president's State of the Union address for tomorrow night. He does plan to focus on the economy, though recent polls show many Americans don't share his view about progress. Outgoing economic advisor Brian Deese.
Even as we've seen real progress in inflation coming down over the last 6 months in particular, we have more work to do to bring prices down, lower costs, and create some breathing room, as he says, for American families.
Only about 4 in 10 Americans say the State of the Union is strong in a new Monmouth University poll, and 59% say the current government in Washington has a negative impact on most people's lives. Earthquakes centered in Turkey early today now blamed for more than 3,000 deaths in Turkey and Syria, countries including the U.S. sending aid. On Wall Street, the Dow down about 36 points at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Why they want the footage released. 45 degrees and sunny in downtown Indianapolis. All clear on your radar. The low tonight down to 41 degrees. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Attorney Stephen Wagner says the police shooting of Anthony Macklin was shocking and unjustified. Wagner says Macklin decided to sleep at his grandma's driveway after a long road trip, and Macklin had a license for his gun, which he kept when he was in a rough neighborhood.
So he had his weapon in the car available to him if he felt threatened. But he never got to grab that weapon or touch it. He was awoken, turned, and then immediately fired upon.
Macklin was critically injured but survived. Wagner says IMPD have a false narrative when it comes to whether or not Macklin threatened the cops with that gun, and the family wants the raw footage released. They've also filed a tort claim against the city of Indianapolis. James Johnson III, a 17-year-old, was shot and killed Saturday night on Indy's east side.
Yeah, difficult. It hurts. I mean, it's painful. We've lost a son.
His mother speaking at a press conference today with friends and family. Johnson was a student at Purdue Polytechnic High School. Detectives are still investigating that homicide. A man from Clinton County was arrested after leading police on a chase with 2 kids in the car last Friday. State police say Travis Martin, a 29-year-old, was arrested on US 52 when he finally ended the pursuit and pulled over. Officers say Martin showed signs of impairment. He faces 4 preliminary charges, including one for resisting law enforcement. You're probably going to see some rain this week. John Herrick reports.
There will be some weaker systems that move into the state this week.
Then we got to keep an eye out for a larger system Wednesday as early as the afternoon, but much more so in the evening, overnight, and then heading into Thursday morning. It's going to bring widespread rain to much of the Midwest, including all of the state of Indiana.
Wish TV meteorologist Marcus Bailey says there will be some wind gusts that could reach 50 miles an hour at times, and he urges you to be on the lookout for flooding. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The average price for gas across Indiana today, $3.24 per gallon, according to Gas Buddy, the cheapest gas in the state's in Sullivan. Some stations have it for $2.84. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's the time of year when it's really hard not to track in slush and dirt into the home. And between the kids, the dogs, and even ourselves just coming and going, the floors and carpets could really use some help. Zero Res is my go-to team for cleaning carpets, hardwood floors, ceramic tile and grout, and even area rugs to give them that smart, lasting clean. I call them because no one can clean like Zero Res, because only Zero Res cleans with patented electrolyzed water. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals. That proprietary technology cleans your carpets without flooding the carpet padding. The patented ZR water technology cleans surfaces without the use of detergents or harsh chemicals because the water itself attracts the dirt, and it does it quickly and efficiently to leave that carpet soft and fluffy, and they stay cleaner longer. They have over 3,000 Google reviews with 4.95 out of 5-star rating. And right now, when you mention WIBC, you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $139. Call 388-5141 or schedule your appointment at ZeroResIndy.com.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05. What's going on, Matt Bear?
You got it, Harrison. Looking at eastbound 70 at 465. It is a crash blocking the left shoulder. More action on 70 on the east side. Eastbound 70 near Emerson Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked by police. Looks like somebody's getting their car tossed right now. And traffic is slow back to Sherman Drive. Westbound lane's also a little bit heavy. Traffic sponsored by Discover. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
For tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild. Low temperature around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, rain returns to the forecast. A few spotty showers early. High temperatures in the low 50s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
Hello, my name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the DriveHubler.com hotline.
John Elliott, former Deputy Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Strategic Communications at the National Security Council, joining us here on the Hammer and Nigel show. John, thank you so much for the time. We got a lot of different layers to this Chinese spy balloon story. A lot of questions, but let's start with the one I think that's the most important. How did this happen? How does a balloon that we know is a Chinese spy balloon allowed to just go across the country? How did this happen?
Well, thank you both for having me on once again. And the answer to your question real quick is that it happened because it was allowed to happen by this administration, directly by this president. What President Biden has said is that he wanted to shoot it down right away, but his generals told him that there was too big of a risk to do that. Well, I'm sorry, but the generals aren't in charge. Under our Constitution, the commander-in-chief is the president. And when I was at the White House, President Trump, he made the decisions, and this was not the case with Biden, where he essentially decided not to make that decision. He had so many times to shoot this thing down, so many opportunities. He could have done it over the ocean when it came by the Aleutians and went down toward our mainland. He could have done it together with NORAD, which is an alliance with Canada, while it was over empty Canada. And then both senators from Montana, Republican and Democrat, have both said that they could have taken it down over Montana with no problem because there's nobody out there. And if there's anybody who says that, then look, it's the two senators from the state. So there were so many opportunities to do this. And frankly, gentlemen, what I was saying is that look, this is such an embarrassment to this president that China may actually have done us a favor by showing the American people just how weak he's been up until now and for the last 2 years on China. And it really puts pressure on right before the State of the Union.
Yeah, but John, we're speaking with John Elliott, former deputy assistant to President Trump, senior director for strategic communications and National Security Council. Listen what they're doing. Listen to this article from the Associated Press. This was from an hour ago. U.S. officials said Monday that improvements ordered by President Joe Biden to strengthen defenses against Chinese espionage helped identify last week's spy balloon and determined that similar flights were conducted at multiple points by a Trump administration. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said Monday that after Biden took office, the U.S., quote, enhanced our surveillance of our territorial space. We enhanced our capacity to detect things that Trump was unable to detect. You see the narrative going here? Can you believe this? They're trying to make Biden look like the hero here.
Well, this is exactly what they did in Afghanistan when they had such a debacle of an exit from Afghanistan. I'm a Marine veteran myself, and we had 13 mostly Marines that were killed in that debacle. And suddenly they spun it as a victory for Biden in pulling us out of there when it was an absolute disgrace on the world stage. So this is the MO of this White House, is whenever they have something that goes wrong, and let me tell you, something goes wrong all the time with this administration, not just on national security. But when they do have something that goes wrong, they do one of two things. That they either say it was caused by President Trump, or they say that it happened under Trump in some way and that we made it better. And that's exactly the way they did it here by now shooting this ridiculous theory that somehow it transited our airspace under Trump. But if you look very carefully about what they're saying, they say the quote is that there is forensic historical evidence that it transited. Look, if there were evidence and if they knew what they were talking about, they would give a time, a place, and a date, right? And they would say this is exactly when it happened, and you're getting none of that from the White House.
John, based off your experience, what's the rest of the world saying right now about the United States after this?
Well, it's once again, it's another Afghanistan, and what they're saying is just like the Chinese showed that this was probably a test balloon, if you will, a trial balloon, literally by the Chinese, in the sense that not only did they want to gather intelligence, but they wanted to see how we would react to this. And so by reacting in such a weak way, then that gave the Chinese much more ability or much more reason to go into Taiwan, let's say, either this year or next year, because we've demonstrated weakness. So to answer your question, the rest of the world is seeing exactly what China has seen, and what our American people are seeing is just how weak this president is on national security. And unfortunately for our allies like Taiwan, this is really spelling much more danger from China, because China is emboldened by this exercise.
Should the United States really be on guard the next 2 years? Because we're about 2 years away from another presidential election. There's a chance Joe Biden won't be the president anymore. We don't know that, but that's the chance. Are other countries kind of planning the next 2 years to do whatever they want to the United States because they've seen the lack of response that comes their way?
Well, absolutely, because if you just look at Ukraine Putin would never have invaded Ukraine if Donald Trump were president. I'm not just saying this as somebody from the administration. If anybody objectively looks at this, Putin has invaded a neighboring country in every president that's elected this century, except for Donald Trump. Under Bush, in Bush's final year, he went and he invaded North Georgia. He invaded the Crimea under Obama, and he did nothing under Trump, and then now under Biden, he saw what happened in Afghanistan, and then he decided, hey, look, the green light for me going back in to try to take over the Ukraine, or certainly some parts of the Ukraine. So to answer your question one more time, is that there is a lot of danger here because the world, look at Iran. Iran now sees a Biden administration coming to the table and trying to renegotiate this nuclear deal that was a disaster, that gave them essentially a green light to produce nuclear weapons within 5 years. And they're still now they look and they'll say, hey, we're signing up for this because there's no issue here.
John Elliott, former deputy assistant to President Trump, senior director for senior strategic communications at the National Security Council here on the Hammer and Nigel show. What kind of information, what kind of details do you think the Chinese spy balloon was able to gain and send back to China?
Well, a couple of things here is that one is that there's a lot better ability with a balloon like this to get what's called signals intelligence or communications intelligence, because if you're up in the from a satellite, it's very tough to detect exactly kind of cell phone issues, et cetera, cell phone communications and other communications that aren't able to be detected from space. So the idea is that if you put a balloon over very sensitive sites like our nuclear weapons facilities, you can gather a lot more electronic intelligence than you can with other means. In other words, probably the best way you could do it is to pull up a pickup truck with a lot of sensitive listening devices and have it done right from the ground. But a balloon even provides better than that coverage because it's overhead, but it's not high enough it's not too high to gather that type of intelligence. So that's probably what they were looking at here. And once again, to do that over our most sensitive sites is really dangerous, and to allow that to happen is really malpractice on the part of this administration.
I totally agree. They should have been shot down immediately. But is there any chance that our military intelligence was spying on the spy balloon? Aircraft carriers or reconnaissance airplanes recording and seeing and what's coming and going out of that spy balloon? Were we able to ascertain any information?
Well, without getting into classified means of tracking, you better believe that we knew that this thing was coming. What intel we got off the balloon is probably more an issue of what they can get from the debris field when it was taken down here off the coast of South Carolina. But bottom line is that we did not let this thing come over our country in order to gather intelligence on what their capabilities are with the balloon. There's no question about that. Right. So the issue is really what we can do in terms of a debris field and kind of put this thing put the pieces back together literally on this.
John, last thing before we let you go here. Again, there's so many stories coming out right now. It's hard to gauge what's true, what's not. But there's one story out that says that the military kind of knew about this during the Trump administration, but they didn't tell President Trump because they thought he might do something irrational. If that is the case, and again, we don't know if it's true or not, but if that is indeed the case, what's going on here? Should Mattis, who I believe was the secretary at the time, should he have to answer some questions?
Well, number one, I don't buy it. As somebody who was at the White House working for President Trump on the National Security Council, I was the NSC spokesman, and I don't buy that for a second, because President Trump gave the clear directive that he wanted to be kept in the loop on anything important national security-wise. And you better believe if there was a spy balloon coming over any part of our country, that he would have been told that. But to your point, if the military deliberately did withhold information from this president, then that's absolutely unconstitutional for them to do it, because the military works for one man, and that's the chief executive of the United States and the commander-in-chief of the military. And if they ever withheld information, or any president, because they thought that the president could not act in a rational way on something, that is just what's called treason. That is absolutely going against our Constitution and our founding documents and the way that we have structured our country, and it's unacceptable if it happened.
John Elliott, former Deputy Assistant to President Trump and Senior Director for Strategic Communications at the National Security Council. John, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your service to our country. Fascinating conversation. We'd like to have it again sometime soon.
Great, Hammer and Nigel. You guys run the best show in Indiana. Thanks again.
Thank you.
You hear that? Best show in Indiana.
I like it. I'll take it. 46 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Matt Bear, what's going on?
East Side, we have a residence fire report at Massachusetts Avenue, Rural Street. I would avoid that for the time being. Also, looking at some police activity on the east side. Eastbound 70 at Emerson Avenue. On the right shoulder right now, a couple of cruisers. We are slow back to Sherman Drive. Traffic sponsored by Discover. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash at any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
We got a lot of stuff to get to, and let's play Is This Anything? That's coming up next.
What if you didn't have to continue working to live a lifestyle you're happy with? What if you could spend the rest of your life doing what you want to do when you want to do it, not worrying about others claiming your time and energy? Aspiring retirees want to know how to achieve the work-optional lifestyle. A much better question is, who can help you achieve this lifestyle? Working because you want to, not because you have to, is financial freedom. This is Brian Singer. My friend and colleague Casey Weed, the founder of Howard Bailey Financial, wrote a best-selling book titled Job Optional. I'm excited to be part of a team that has developed and refined a proprietary process designed to help people who are still working create a job-optional lifestyle. The Howard Bailey Retire with Purpose framework looks at 5 key areas of your financial life and then informs your choices to design a lifestyle as unique as you are. Retire with Purpose puts all the pieces of the puzzle together in a process designed to bring predictability and purpose to your financial life. We're not all things to all people. We are all things to some people. This means we primarily work with people who understand you don't need to know how, you just need to know who. Who knows how to fit all the pieces of the puzzle together to support your one-of-a-kind lifestyle? Who can do that for you and do it so well that that advisor team is the last team you will ever need or want? We work with people who expect their relationship with us to be transformational rather than transactional. Call us at 317-852-9153 to schedule a retirement readiness review and see how the Retire with Purpose process might transform your life. 317-852-9153.
Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved. Job Optional was the #1 Amazon bestseller in retirement planning on 7/2/19 and a Wall Street Journal ebook bestseller on 8/9/19.
World-changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Every small business owner knows business happens everywhere. The office, the warehouse, or on the road. And no matter where it takes you, there's one solution to help your business thrive. Comcast Business Complete Connectivity. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network with advanced gig speed Wi-Fi and cyber threat protection in one solution. Plus, add Comcast Business Mobile and you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. Get started for just $40 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. And ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card.
Flight 291 is now boarding.
Yep, you're going places. And when you get there, be ready to do business. The complete connectivity solution from the company that powers more small businesses than any other provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 100 megabits per second internet and Comcast Business Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
You know, with home values reaching all-time highs and Golden Oak's low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home. The average homeowner has gained $64,000 in home equity since last year. So, man, you can do whatever you want with that cash. Pay off those credit card debts. Golden Oak Lending is here to help you tap into your growing home equity and pay off that high-interest debt.
Get started with Golden Oak's free mortgage checkup. Yes, free, risk-free, no paperwork or credit card required. All you have to do is call 317-706-GOLD, 706-GOLD, to find out how much money you could save each month. The average cash-out customer saves $904 a month. $904, and that's just the average. 317-706-GOLD. Golden Oak Lending. They want to be your expert lending partner for life. NMLS 114937.
Better sleep can change your life. That's because sleep is a core pillar of health, just like nutrition and exercise. So if you're not getting enough of it, ZQL invites you to take our Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Get weekly sleep tips and explore how ZQL, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, can help you. ZQL's Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Visit ZQL.com.
Find ZQL at Walmart or Walmart.com and start your journey to better sleep today.
Show your true love and spoil her with that one special Valentine's gift from Pierce Jewelers that will say, I love you. Remember, shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers in Carmel.
Fellas, need an annual health exam for work or just want to start the year prioritizing your health? We recommend Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They check all your levels, not just your testosterone.
It's typically covered by most health insurance, and if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for full labs and an office visit with the provider. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Selling your house, it can be one of the most stressful experiences in life. It doesn't have to be. It's Matt Bear here. Hi. Last minute showings and never-ending negotiations can't be a thing. It should be exciting. No anxiety. I had so much of that when I sold my house north of Indy. It felt like a lifetime of negotiations, and I even sold my furniture because, boom, closing time. I'm out. I could have skipped the hassle and sold directly to Open Door. I could have closed in a matter of days and focused on what's ahead in life. There isn't always a perfect time to move. Open Door can help any time be a perfect time. Take control of your move when you start with Open Door. Request an all-cash offer in minutes. Open Door eliminates the most stressful parts of selling your home, like showings and long, tedious negotiations. Start with a free all-cash offer on your house today at opendoor.com. That's opendoor.com. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage Incorporated, license 02061130 in California, and Open Door Brokerage LLC in its other markets.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's Diamond Engagement Ring Store.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything? On 93 WIBC.
Hammer, how do we play? Is this anything?
I'll run some stories by you. You tell us if they're anything or not. That simple. Is this anything? Lawmakers in Tennessee have introduced a bill to replace Columbus Day with Super Bowl Monday to give everybody the day off after the game. Here are opinions from the people around Nashville weighing in.
Most of the people are either hungover or they just don't want to come to work because the Super Bowl runs way into late hours. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. Well, I would participate in any day off.
Why do we keep coming up with holidays?
It almost seems like a backdoor way to cancel a real holiday.
Yeah, that's something, as long as it's not some woke initiative to cancel Columbus Day because evil Christopher Columbus. But I love how that first guy, could you just cue that up again? Just play that.
Most of the people are either hungover or they just don't want to.
I love how that guy's like, yeah, most of the people in this state are drunk and hungover anyway, so yeah, make it a holiday. I love that idea. I love the idea of making the day after Super Bowl a holiday. Because, yes, I'm going to be honest with you, I might have a little bit of a twinge of a hangover, especially as much money as I've got riding on this game.
You made a pretty sizable wager.
I did. It was out of emotion and anger, and I don't regret it. But let's just say I emptied my account, and I am rooting for the Eagles to win this game.
So was this in any way what you call an anger bet?
Yes, actually it was, because I live bet the Purdue IU game when Purdue was down by 15 points. I got them at plus 500. I go, they're going to make a run. They're the number one team in the country. They got the best player in college basketball. Purdue is going to make a run. So I've been on a string of losses lately, like you haven't seen. And I thought, I got this. And when they were down by one, I thought, this is it. I'm going to win. And then I was seething after the game. And I said, screw it. You know what? I need to double my account. I'm just going to put the entire $400 on the Eagles. on the Eagles money line to win the Super Bowl. So it may have been an anger bet, as I like to call it. Yes.
And you said you've been in a rough streak lately?
Oh, a long time. Long.
So I'm going to hammer the Chiefs then. $4 bills, though. $400 on the Eagles. Or as Fetterman would say, the Eagles! Is this anything? A Michigan woman is being praised for returning almost $15,000 that she found on the ground while walking to work.
Wow.
Because of her generosity, people have raised tens of thousands of dollars to help get her a car so she doesn't have to walk anymore.
That's cool.
Here is Diane Gordon and Lieutenant Ivory talking about what happened and who the money belonged to.
Looked down on the ground and found a plastic bag that had a large sum of money in it. This doesn't belong to me. I need to call a police officer.
It never really crossed our mind to do anything other than turn it over. Inside the bag was also wedding cards, so we come to find out that these are gifts from a wedding that had occurred that day. I think it was $14,780 worth of cash.
It's okay. I mean, it didn't belong to me.
Oh, yeah, this is something that's cool. They got her a new car after fundraising and after she found all that money. And $15,000, was it?
$15,000.
I'd like to think I'd do the same thing. It just, how arduous and cumbersome of a process would it be to find out who the owners were is the only thing. Like, I'm getting home, I'll call the non-police emergency number, and you could come and get it.
If $15,000, though.
If they say come to the station, I'm like, nah, you guys got to come here and get this thing.
I think I would do the right thing. If I found $15,000, I would turn in $10,000 and say, I found this in the street. You know me, I'm here to help. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Sweetheart, sugar, cutie pie. Love is sweet. Your Valentine's Day gift should be too. Visit Shane Company for unique fine jewelry. It's a great way to show your special someone how well you know them and that you love everything about them. With our amazing selection of colorful gemstones, why not select a style with their favorite color? We have natural sapphires in every color of the rainbow, rubies as red as a rose, topaz as blue as the sky. Or tell your love story with a charm necklace. Choose from dozens of symbolic charms. Get a zodiac charm because your stars are aligned, or a compass charm because you're on a journey together. You could also select an engravable style, like a beautiful locket or a gold bar necklace. We'll inscribe a message on it, a love note to your Valentine. At Shane Company, we have so many easy ways to make your gift more personal. For more ideas, talk to a jewelry consultant today. Your Valentine's Day gift will be a treat.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
They want you to be able to see the video. 45 degrees, sunny in downtown Indianapolis. Nothing on your radar. The low tonight drops to around 41. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:31. The attorney for the family of Anthony Macklin says he came home from a long road trip and decided to sleep in his grandma's driveway so he didn't have to wake her up.
And then he was awoken by a tapping on the window, turned to look at that tapping, and was met with a hail of gunfire.
Attorney Stephen Wagner says officers poured 30 rounds into the car, critically injuring Macklin, who did survive but needed 6 surgeries. Wagner also says IMPD's claim that the body cam footage is inconclusive is incorrect, and the family wants the raw footage released. A tort claim was filed against the city of Indianapolis. 17-year-old James Johnson III was shot and killed on Saturday on Lowell Avenue. His mother, LaToya Martin, doesn't know why.
We do not know the details behind why his life was taken. And it is tragic, but it wasn't a party or a situation like that. It was a group of friends in a room.
He leaves behind his parents and 2 younger sisters. As of now, there's been no arrest made in connection to Johnson's death. More than 3,000 people are dead after an earthquake hit Turkey and Syria. Just over half of those deaths happened in Turkey. The first quake was a magnitude 7.8. The second tremor was just below that. President Joe Biden will deliver the State of the Union to Congress Tuesday night. The director of the National Economic Council says the president will be talking about the economy.
The first is to put the progress that we have made economically back into the broader frame that really compelled him to run for president in the first place.
Brian Deese in a press briefing Monday. Republicans blame Biden for record high inflation. And your stock report, the Dow dropped 34 points to 33,891. The NASDAQ down 119 today to 11,887. And the S&P 500 dropped 25 to 4,111. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:33.
Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine now because people who have joint pain are getting real, lasting relief without drugs or surgery. Tony Katz here. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting treatment. They use highly concentrated healing agents from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. If you have ongoing joint pain from arthritis or injury, you need to call QC Kinetics. Don't assume that steroids and surgery are your only option. Times have changed, and regenerative medicine can get you moving again with no downtime, so stop taking the pain meds and discover this remarkable alternative that pro athletes have been using for years. Thanks to QC Kinetics, this amazing treatment option is now available for people like you and me who are sick and tired of joint pain. Don't put it off any longer. Spring is coming and you want to enjoy all life has to offer. Call QC Kinetics right now for a totally free consultation with medical professionals in Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and now in Carmel. 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
With traffic at 4:34, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, we are looking at Massachusetts Avenue, Rural Street. In that area, a roof is on fire of a house. At least it was. Crews are still on scene, and the whole intersection is a mess right now. I would avoid inbound 65. Now stop and go around the hoof into the north split. Eastbound 70 down and down. It slows from west to Meridian, Illinois. And on the south side, eastbound 465, stop and go from Man Road over to Harding. Traffic sponsored by Discover. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
For tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild. Low temperature around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, rain returns to the forecast. A few spotty showers early. High temperatures in the low 50s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Nigel Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer's over there.
Hey now.
My name is Nigel. Disgraced former Twitter executives Vijaya Gad, Yoel Roth, Jim Baker all testifying under oath before a House Oversight Committee this week in relation to, temporarily suppress the New York Post story. And, I hope they ask some very tough questions. It looks like the committee's going to have them and grill them. They subpoenaed. They're under subpoena. They're testifying. Who were you talking to from the DNC in the closing weeks of the 2020 presidential election campaign when you decided to suppress the Hunter Biden story? Who exactly were you talking to from the Biden campaign? Who exactly from the FBI were you communicating with? All questions I'd like to know.
Looking forward to that, especially that weasel Yoel Roth, because he was kind of being a smartass about the fact that he was meeting with the FBI on a regular basis. Well, why were they meeting? Were they meeting to limit and silence some voices? We'll find out later this week. Tomorrow night, big night, Nige, Joe Biden. They're going to prop him up there like Weekend at Bernie's. They're going to put the peanut butter on his dentures to make it look like he's talking. And it's the State of the Union address. Tailgate worthy?
He's Mr. Ed. They used to make Mr. Ed talk. Tailgate worthy? Nah. No, I don't know. I guess I'll just watch it because I have to for work. But I mainly just maybe get the Cliff Notes in the mornings.
I'm going to watch it. Again, we say this all the time. We watch this crap so you don't have to. It's a popular opinion, but we've been saying this for a long time, and we got a bingo card available. Have you seen the bingo card?
Hilarious.
So
did you tweet that out?
I did. On Twitter. I think I've got it pinned at the top. Facebook and Instagram. Just look for Hammer and Nigel. The State of the Union bingo card is now available. What are some of the things that you see on the card here,
Okay,
Nige?
so if you're watching the State of the Union address tomorrow night and Biden says the word malarkey,
Oh, it's
Go
a
ahead and
favorite.
mark it off.
Okay.
Biden falls down, trips.
Possible.
Promises free stuff to people. A come on man. This is my favorite one. Biden has a gross, wet cough.
That is on the card for sure.
Which, again, you can go to WIBC.com, go to the Hammer and Nigel page to right-click and download or screenshot it or whatever you do. And it's at Hammer and Nigel on Twitter and Facebook.
And if you're playing the game, like if you actually print off the card, send us a picture of you playing the game, and we'll retweet as many as we can at Hammer and Nigel.
If he says electric car, cross it off. Love it.
Stares and squints really long into the teleprompter.
Yep.
So that's coming up tomorrow. But today, it's all about this Chinese spy balloon. It's the biggest story in the country because there are so many layers to it. When did Joe Biden know? Was he going to tell us? Did they only shoot it down because people in Montana saw the thing and there was outcry in this nation? Did Donald Trump know about it? So many questions, and it got me thinking, Nige.
Yes.
What other big things about balloons have happened? And then I did a little research, and I think this would be the perfect time for a special balloon edition of Fun Facts for Kids.
Okay. Wow.
It's time for Hammer and Nigel's Fun Facts for Kids.
These are little pieces of information that the younger listeners of the Hammer and Nigel show can enjoy.
All right.
Special balloon edition. The rubber balloon that we know today was first discovered by a scientist, Michael Faraday. Faraday died a painful death caused by mercury exposure. Slow and devastating symptoms included muscle weakness, twitching, and kidney damage.
Fun Facts for Kids.
I'm not sure how that's what you would call a fun fact.
The first passengers on hot air balloons were not humans. Instead, it was a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. The balloon flew for 15 minutes, then ultimately crashed to the ground, meaning there was a good possibility that nearby children playing in a meadow were splattered with the blood and bones of some of their favorite barn-herd animals.
Fun Facts for Kids.
That's not a fun fact. That's neither fun nor I doubt that's a fact.
Oh, it's a fact. These are all true facts.
Okay.
You can doubt whether they're fun or not, but do not question my research. A surgical procedure called an angioplasty uses tiny balloons that are inserted into a blocked blood vessel. We've all heard about an angioplasty.
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes the chest pain can occur during angioplasty because the balloon briefly blocks off blood supply to the heart, causing imminent death.
Fun Facts for Kids.
I think this one's my favorite. Balloon Fest took place in 1986. It was an event in Cleveland, Ohio. And Balloon Fest was partnered with the local chapter of the United Way. They were trying to set a record by releasing almost 1.5 million balloons. It took place on September 27th, 1986, and was intended to be a harmless fundraising publicity stunt. But the balloons drifted back over the city. They also drifted over Lake Erie, and they landed in the surrounding areas, causing problems for traffic. The nearby airport had to be closed for a little bit, and the event also interfered with the United States Coast Guard rescue attempt for two boaters who were later found drowned to death.
Fun Facts for Kids.
That is awful.
Balloon Fest 86. I wonder if anybody has a t-shirt.
Interfered with the Coast Guard search for two boaters.
Dolphins, whales, turtles, and many other marine objects.
I don't like this is where this is going.
As well as animals such as cows, dogs, sheep, turtles, birds, have all been hurt or killed by balloons. The animal is usually killed from the balloon because they ingest it and it blocks the digestive tract, leaving them unable to take in nutrients. So the animal slowly starves to death.
Fun Facts for Kids.
That is one of the worst things I think I've heard in this segment.
It's a fact. Lastly, balloon dueling is actually a thing.
I'm sorry?
Balloon dueling. French statesman de Grandpont and Le Pic had an actual duel while on hot air balloons fighting over a woman. The Peaks balloon was shot, and he was shot to death and ultimately fell to earth, where his bullet-ridden corpse smacked the pavement like a sack of wet cement.
Fun facts for kids.
Well, kids, I hope you stayed in the car for that one.
See? The criticism of this show that we're not kid-friendly, fake news.
Beloved former basketball coach and educator Satch Sullinger knows you got to keep moving to stay healthy. But that's not so easy when your aching joints won't cooperate.
We still want to move and we still want to get around and we still want to be active, but we start to deteriorate the moment we quit moving.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments help restore movement in stiff, aching knees, hips, shoulders, and back, using only your natural healing properties to help restore damaged joints. That's a huge positive for Satch.
It's working, and what I really like about it is there's nothing foreign put in my body. Everything that was put in my body has been taken from my body. I love it. I love it. Like I said, I want to live until the day I die.
Get rid of the pain and start moving again. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions. Most people approaching retirement age are on the lookout for ways to save money. And when it comes to saving on your Medicare prescriptions, look no further than your neighborhood Walgreens. We're a preferred network pharmacy with many plans nationwide, which could mean lower copays for you. Fill your prescriptions at a Walgreens pharmacy and start saving today. Walgreens participates with the AARP Medicare RX from United Healthcare, WellCare, and Cigna. Walgreens participates with other plans. See walgreens.com/Medicare for details.
You can celebrate the one you love and have a fantastic Valentine's Day with Diamonds Direct. Here's an unprecedented Valentine's offer from Diamonds Direct. You can get an extra 25% off all diamond stud earrings. It makes a great Valentine's Day gift. And 25% off diamond bracelets. And 25% off diamond pendants. It's true. For the first Valentine's ever, Diamonds Direct lets you take a full 25% off all their diamond classic jewelry.
Or you could choose 3 years, 0 interest financing. If that works better for you, take advantage of that. You don't want to miss this amazing Valentine's offer. Take advantage of an expanded selection, meet famous jewelry designers in the diamond showroom that they've got right there at Keystone at the Crossing, or ask about special 0 interest financing options for up to 3 years. DiamondsDirect.com. Nobody does it better. Nobody represents Valentine's Day better. DiamondsDirect.com. Stop by and tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
High school sports teach so much more than just the fundamentals of the game. They also teach the fundamentals of life, like the power of belief. I'm Robert Falkins.
And I'm Carrie Rosati. We're both assistant commissioners of the IHSAA. In the second classroom of high school sports, student athletes understand hard work pays off, and they learn to be proud of their effort, no matter the outcome.
Successful student athletes support their teammates and learn to always do the right thing.
And most importantly, they learn to always believe in themselves.
When high school sports keep education in front of athletics, these fundamental beliefs outweigh the idea of winning at all costs.
That's why high school sports are a transformative and invaluable part of every student athlete's education.
Buy a ticket to your high school's athletic events and show student athletes that you'll always believe in them too.
This is the power of belief. This is the power of high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Focus on what you can control by designing your retirement plan. Howard Bailey can help. Call 317-852-9153 to get started. Investment advice offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor.
You know what? Let's just write it. Let's just go with it. Standing by to do some material traffic, the material man.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Bear.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I'm shaking right now. We're looking at eastbound 70, a little bit slow around West Street and on the south side. Eastbound 465, slow roll from Man Road over to Harding Street. And a structure fire, roof fire on Massachusetts Avenue, Rural Street in that area. So please avoid the area if you can right now. Traffic sponsored by Howard Bailey Financial. Focus on what you can control by designing your retirement plan. Howard Bailey can help. Call 317-852-9153 to get started. Investment advice offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Jared tweets at us at Hammer and Nigel. My 7-year-old just got out of the truck yelling, "Fun facts for kids!"
Sorry, Jared.
I love it. 46 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. And the reason we've got Madonna blaring in the background is she was at the Grammys last night. Well, we think it was Madonna.
Last night at the Grammys, Madonna did like a slightly obnoxious intro of Sam Smith and Kim Petras' satanic performance of Unholy. That's a whole other issue. But listen to the crowd. Clearly the crowd was not reacting the way Madonna wanted. Here's part of her. This is like really a drawn-out intro. We'll play the whole thing.
Are you ready for a little controversy? Come on, people, let's make some noise. Y'all are going to sleep over here. So, here's what I've learned after 4 decades in music. If they call you shocking, scandalous, troublesome, problematic, provocative, or dangerous, you are definitely onto something. That's where you make noise. Yeah, thank you.
Wasn't that just the worst intro you've ever had? First of all, y'all gonna sleep over there is no way to begin something where you want people to go get fired up.
Maybe they didn't recognize that it was Madonna because her face is so weird now.
And by the way, earlier in the show, the crowd was all on their feet dancing to Stevie Wonder and Chris Stapleton. So it looked like the crowd was just fine. So I think it was pretty much her. But yeah, you come out on stage and you go, y'all are going to sleep over here, and it gets immediately quiet. She just ruined it.
And then that's when you're supposed to clap. Takes us to something that we've done on this show before. Great moments in Please Clap history. Jeb Bush.
I think the next president needs to be a lot quieter, but send a signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
That was Madonna.
That's exactly what Madonna said at the end. Please, what is this called? Great moments in Please Clap history?
Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Klobuchar.
And every single time I have run, I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's. Okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer. Okay?
Oh.
All right, so.
Just a little reminder that Amy Klobuchar finished above Kamala Harris in the Democrat primaries.
Well, they all did.
But think about how unlikable she is, and she beat Kamala, which brings us to Kamala Harris.
Yellow school buses are our nation's largest form of mass transit. How about that? Every day. So yes, and let's applaud because it gets them where they need to go.
Nobody's applauding.
Wow.
We're clapping for yellow school buses? I don't understand what's going on here.
Great moments in Please Clap history.
And then when Eric Swalwell was running for president in one of the worst campaigns I've ever seen in my life, he thought he'd have this powerful speech and he thought he had a line. And then, keep in mind, we have not edited this segment. Listen to the silence. Not one person claps.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold. My wife and I.
Oh, that's painful.
This is what it probably sounded like to Eric Swalwell.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold. My wife and I.
That had to be the longest, 2 to 3 seconds of his life.
That was awkward. Great moments and please clap history. That's my favorite new segment on the show.
If you're looking for a reason to drink tonight...
I need a reason?
Well, just maybe. Who knows? Rick Astley is 57 years old today.
Hey!
Never gonna give you up.
Oh, that was a great rendition.
Thank you. So
50,
Allison,
how old?
He's 57.
Oh, that's not bad. This is almost 10 years older than I am.
He was pretty young when he was making hits.
Okay.
So Allison, as our new producer here, we're going to do Choose Your Own Adventure, okay? I've got 3 clips from Rick Astley. I want you to play the one that you like the best. Do you want to hear Rick Astley on stage with the Foo Fighters doing his hit, Never Gonna Give You Up? Do you want to hear Rick Astley doing a cover of Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars? Or Rick Astley performing Highway to Hell? Allison, choose your own adventure.
Definitely Highway to Hell.
Let's do Highway to Hell. Let's line it up. Let's do it. It's him on the drums, too.
He's playing the drums and singing at the same time.
Yeah. He's a talented musician.
57. I want to hear the other one. I want to hear the Foo Fighters. Can you do Foo Fighters for me?
On stage with the Foo Fighters. They brought him out as a surprise at a concert. The crowd's into it.
I think he sounds pretty good here.
Here we go.
I would have been so fired up to see that at a concert.
I'm here for it. Top stories and William Shatner, the old brick Shat House, calling the Hammer and Nigel show, coming up.
This Valentine's Day, the perfect gift is at PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms in Brownsburg. You're going to find that one-of-a-kind piece without breaking the bank. Unique vintage pieces of jewelry dating back to the 1800s. One-of-a-kind pieces from local jewelers. And they also have those wow factor diamonds if you're looking to make this Valentine's Day something special. A big jewelry selection without the big jewelry price. It's more than a kiss. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-858-3030 online at premierarms.com.
Different treatments, structure function treatments, also for cardiovascular. How important are minerals in your treatment for cardiovascular issues?
Absolutely critical. The great cardiologists already know, if you look at the textbooks, balancing out the minerals is one of the most important things because, again, the heart is beating so often. It's the mineral pathways on there that allow the muscles to actually work. If those minerals get out of balance, then you actually get abnormal heart rhythms. So one of the quickest ways that you can improve function of the heart is to balance out the minerals and get the minerals to where they need to be so the heart has the tools to be able to work correctly.
And we check minerals through a hair analysis.
Hair analysis and blood tests. The combination of the two really gives us the picture that we need.
The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather, Sundays at 8 p.m. or anytime at thevoiceofhealthradio.com.
$111,000. Would you be upset if you lost $111,000? I know I would be. Get this, 96% of Americans lose an average of $111,000 in Social Security income, and it's because they claim their benefits at the wrong time. But you could avoid this with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery right here in Indy. He knows Social Security like the back of his hand. This free analysis will teach you exactly when you file for your benefits, so you don't leave one thin dime on the table. If you've saved at least $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-972-9172. That's 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172. 317-972-9172.
Every small business owner knows business happens everywhere. The office, the warehouse, or on the road. And no matter where it takes you, there's one solution to help your business thrive. Comcast Business Complete Connectivity. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network with advanced gig speed Wi-Fi and cyber threat protection in one solution. Plus, add Comcast Business Mobile and you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. Get started for just $40 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. And ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card.
Flight 291 is now boarding.
Yep, you're going places. And when you get there, be ready to do business. The complete connectivity solution from the company that powers more small businesses than any other provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 100 megabits per second internet and Comcast Business Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
With inflation on the rise, you may be charging more to your credit card. But be careful. That increased debt can cause your credit score to suffer.
Don't get stuck with a low credit score and a mountain of high-interest credit card debt. Call Golden Oak Lending now.
Refinance with our low rates to wipe out your high-interest credit card debt and put extra cash in your pocket. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess reports on a family who's filed a tort claim against the city and some IMPD officers. Community reaction after a 17-year-old was shot and killed in Indy Saturday night. And John Herrick reports on a Hoosier who won some good money in the lottery. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
The Commander-in-Chief on the defense, Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden says he wanted to shoot down a Chinese spy balloon as soon as possible, but the Defense Department wanted to wait until it was over water. Also telling reporters the incident does not weaken his administration's position with the Chinese government, which accuses the U.S. of overreacting to what China still calls a weather balloon.
We've made it clear to China what we're going to do. They understand our position. We're not going to back off. We did the right thing. And there's not a question of weakening or strengthening. It's just reality.
The White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says lines of communication will remain open.
It will continue to be calm, resolute, and practical. That is not going to change on how we're going to move forward with our relationship with China, with our diplomatic conversations as we move beyond this.
Adding it's up to China to figure out what kind of relationship they want. China is now making the same claims about another balloon.
The Chinese government says a second balloon seen flying over Latin America did come from China, but claims it's of civilian nature and is used for a flight test. The Foreign Ministry says the balloon over Latin America has been impacted by the weather, has limited steering abilities, and has deviated far from its planned course.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz in Washington. All of this as the president prepares for tomorrow night's State of the Union address, telling reporters,
I want to talk to the American people and let them know the state of affairs, what's going on, what I'm looking forward to working on from this point on, what we've done, and just have a conversation with the American people.
No word on whether he'll talk about the balloon incident specifically. 7 days of national mourning declared in Turkey after powerful earthquakes now blamed for at least 3,500 deaths in Turkey and neighboring Syria. Thousands more injured. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They don't think they're getting the full story. Sunny, 45 degrees in downtown Indy. All clear on the radar. Low tonight down to 41. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. The family of Anthony Macklin says that people need to see the unedited body cam footage. Donnie Burgess reports on the other demands from the family.
Attorney Stephen Wagner says Anthony Macklin was asleep in his own car and presented no threat when 3 IMPD officers fired 30 rounds into his car on New Year's Eve. The Macklin family has filed a tort claim against the city and the police involved. They want the body cam footage, the officers fired.
And finally, we ask for the prosecutor's office to carefully consider this case
and decide whether criminal charges are indicated, and we believe they are.
Macklin survived the shooting. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
James Johnson III, a 17-year-old student and entrepreneur, was shot and killed in Indianapolis Saturday night. His father, James Johnson II, on some of the positive work his son did.
If he couldn't sell the fruit, he would give it away. And he always talked to his younger sisters about having them work for him, and he made sure he would show them, this is how I'll pay you and this is how much you'll make.
Johnson III was the owner and operator of 317 Fruit Man, which would give back to undeserved communities. A man from Osgood died this morning in a wreck on US 421 at Decatur County, say Indiana State Police. Noah Seals crossed the center line of the road and hit a dump truck head on. Police don't think drugs or alcohol played a factor in the wreck. The driver of the truck had minor injuries. It's not supposed to feel like your typical February this week.
Pretty active week here. Obviously, the big story is we're so well above average. It's going to have that spring-like feel.
Wish TV meteorologist Marcus Bailey says high temperatures will be in the 50s starting Tuesday. You'll probably see some rain and some strong wind, too. The fifth largest Powerball jackpot ever is on the line for tonight's drawing, but someone in Indiana did recently buy a winning ticket.
And the prize for that is $50,000. I'm John Herrick. The Hoosier Lottery says someone bought that winning ticket at a Meijer store in McCordsville Saturday night that matched 4 out of the 5 numbers and the Powerball. The Powerball jackpot for tonight is an estimated $747 million, and the lump sum cash payout for that would be $403 million. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese.
Lunch is ready.
He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe in a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
Find an agent at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05. What's going on, Matt Bear?
Fire. Massachusetts Avenue, Rural Street, and it was on the roof, and still a lot of traffic in that area, so please be careful. You may want to avoid here just for a little while longer. Also looking at southbound 65, I see stop-and-go traffic, 21st Street to Meridian. Eastbound 70 drags on the way in after Harding to Meridian, Illinois, and south side looking good right now on eastbound 465 from Kentucky to Harding. Everything's cleared up. Traffic sponsored by the Spring Suburban Indie Home Show. The Spring Suburban Indie Home and Outdoor Living Show offers free parking and $5 tickets at suburbanindieshows.com. February 12th through the 10th at Grand Park in Westfield. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
For tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild. Low temperature around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, rain returns to the forecast. A few spotty showers early. High temperatures in the low 50s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
On 93 WIBC.
So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer is right over there. What an hour of radio we have in store for you. Talk about some of these special guests coming up this hour, please.
Man, we've got the iconic voice of the Indiana Hoosiers, Don Fisher. What a game that was on Saturday. What an atmosphere. And he was given his props for 50 years behind the mic for the Hoosiers.
Unbelievable.
That, and, oh, by the way, William Shatner on the Hammer and Nigel show.
James T. Kirk.
The old brick Shat House. I am so excited for this. He's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. They're having a screening of the Wrath of Khan at Butler in March.
Clues Hall. So they do the screening, and then he comes out afterwards and answers questions and does behind-the-scenes stories and talks about his life and stuff.
Right. Really cool thing, and we'll talk to him about that coming up in just a little bit. But as we like to do on Mondays on this program, we like to take a look.
Yeah, just absolutely love doing this.
At the crime that's happening here in the city of Indianapolis. So Friday through Sunday, we consider that the weekend. At least, and we always say that because we don't know, what went on without the police being called.
Sure.
At least 11 people shot, 4 stabbed, and 3 killed. God. So if you break down that number, that's an average of 5 people shot or stabbed with 1 killed each day.
And in per capita, those are Chicago-style numbers.
We're kicking Chicago's backside in homicides per capita. Let that sink in. In January, if Indianapolis had the same population as Chicago, the homicides would be in the 60s because Chicago had 44.
Yeah.
So we would be substantially outpacing Chicago if we had the same population. It's unbelievable. And here's another example of what we talk about all the time. This revolving door of the justice system where horrible people are allowed to get right back out on the streets. 47-year-old Lamont Franklin arrested for attempted murder, but records show that he's been taken to jail at least 18 times since 2004.
Oh, just slap an ankle bracelet on him.
Rub his hair, tell him, get out of here, you little scamp. You'll be fine. Don't do that again.
This makes me sick. And the really scary thing is that IMPD's recruiting numbers are down. Hammer. And that's a scary situation in and of itself, separate from the crime situation here in Indy.
When you look at the recruiting numbers, it's not pretty. But in years past, you might be able to skate as long as you're retaining your officers. They're not doing that right now. As a matter of fact, IMPD lost 11 more officers to various other police departments in the last couple of weeks. IMPD is down to 285 officers. That's how many they're down. They've lost 285 officers compared to where they should be. That's a scary number.
Wow. Say that again. Make sure you're clear. There's more than 285 officers.
Oh,
right?
yeah. They're down 285 officers from where they should be. Think about 285 police officers. If they were in front of your house, you would say, that's a lot of police officers. But you look at how big Indianapolis is, and now down 285, that's a big number, man. That's not good.
Well, let me tell you something that is good. Are you ready for some good news?
Please.
Are you ready? Can we just talk about the price of eggs? They have finally started to drop, Hammer.
Oh!
Looks like we made it.
All right. So I'm not going to have to color potatoes this Easter?
Have to take out a home loan, Golden Oak Lending, get a mortgage, get an equity in my house to buy a carton of eggs. So the price of a dozen eggs has dropped 15 to 35 cents on average across the United States. So,
progress.
Yeah, right.
But gas is going back up, though, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an uptick in gas, and it's so annoying. And the price of eggs truly, it's still high. It's the cost of feed, the cost of transportation, and then you throw in a little bird flu in there.
Oh, sure. I thought you told me this was good news.
We did play the looks like we made it music, but in reality, it's just kind of crappy news.
Now, wait a minute. You're telling me that we have the greatest economy, according to Joe Biden, yet we're still having expensive eggs and gas is going up and there's bird flu. And
speaking of Joe Biden, we have the State of the Union bingo card up right now, don't we? Is it up right now?
It is up right now on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can print off the image, or you could go to WIBC.com. There's an article there where you can download and print off your State of the Union bingo card for tomorrow night from your friends here at the Hammer and Nigel
Show. What does it have on it? You describe what it has on it when you're watching the State of the Union address.
So, for example, if Joe Biden says assault weapons, that's on there. If Joe Biden trips and falls, that's on there. If he has a gross, wet cough, that's on there. All of your favorite Joe Biden type of things are on this bingo card.
Oh, man, I can't wait. So that's available right now.
An open mouth stare is on there.
Go to WIBC.com to download that, or Facebook. It's on our Twitter at Hammer and Nigel. Of course, we're keeping on top of the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down on Saturday.
It was shot down by Alec Baldwin, I'm being told. They brought in the big guns to get it down.
I got to tell you, it was riveting television. The only ones that were covering it was Fox. So it was perfect because I sat on my butt and watched that for like 2 hours, and that led right into the IU Purdue game.
Oh, wow. Your Saturday was set.
It was great until I placed a live bet on Purdue.
Multiple live bets
because I knew they were going to make a run, and it didn't work out so well for me. But, so yeah, we shot down the Chinese balloon that was floating across the country. But look, I got to tell you, I got to be honest with you, that doesn't mean it isn't a good gift for Valentine's Day this year.
Not sure what to get your special someone this Valentine's Day? Why not surprise them with a colorful Chinese spy balloon bouquet from Party City? Show your Valentine how much you love them by watching their every movement 24/7. The Chinese Spy Balloon Bouquet from Party City. It's the gift that says you're always there for them because you're always there.
Oh, man, that spy balloon thing is just an embarrassment for our country. Just another embarrassment. And Biden and the Good Time Party boys at the Pentagon are all high-fiving themselves after they shot that thing out of the air after it completed its mission.
Right. Like, imagine if law enforcement had that same policy. Well, we knew where the killer was. We were tracking the killer. And after he killed 13 more people, we made our arrest. Like, what other industry does this philosophy fly in?
Oh, man. Unbelievable. So, Don Fisher at 5:30.
Correct.
And then we have William Shatner, iconic movie star, singer.
I want to talk 8 minutes about T.J. Hooker. That's what I want to do. You got to work with prime Heather Locklear, man. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. No decade had hotter Heathers than the 80s did.
All right, so that's next after we take a look at the roads with Matt Bear.
All right, Nigel, looking at Massachusetts Avenue, Earl Street, that is a house fire. Roof caught fire of a house, and crews are still on scene. I'd stay clear for a moment, maybe two. Looking at inbound 65 stop-and-go traffic from West Street to the North Split. Eastbound 70, south end of downtown, slows. West Street to Meridian, Illinois. Traffic sponsored by Discover. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
46 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
As a Shane Company jewelry consultant, I get to work with couples looking for their dream engagement ring. Many feel overwhelmed. They just don't know where to start. And that's what I love about my job. I get to make this important experience fun and easy. We don't work on commission, so there's no pressure. When you visit, first, I'll want to know, what are your ideas for your dream ring? What fits your lifestyle, your personality, your budget? Then we'll go from there. We'll look at ring settings and I'll show you options for the center stone. For example, if you choose a classic solitaire ring setting, I can show you how it'll look with different center stones, like a pear-shaped diamond or an oval pink sapphire. We have all shapes, colors, and sizes. If you're going for a big look with lots of sparkle, I can show you our halo ring settings. Or, if you want a ring that's ready to go, we can look at our perfectly preset styles. Visit your friends. We're in this together.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
choices.
Hubler really does have it all. All of our pre-owned vehicles are Hubler Q certified, which include a 128-point vehicle inspection, a free Carfax vehicle history report, and 2 warranties. A 2-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and a 30-day, 1,000-mile comprehensive warranty. Visit any of our 13 locations today, or click drivehubler.com.
Hubler has it all.
Yeah, you know, us bettors, we all have our systems when we bet, from picking the perfect upset to combing through injury reports the night before the game. There is one thing every bettor should include in their system: the responsible gaming tools that are available on FanDuel Sportsbook. Now, these tools will help keep your play in check and under control. Tools like, I'm talking about time limits, so you don't unknowingly spend more time on the app than you intended. Wager limits to help prevent you from betting more than you should. And you can even take a timeout, which is a function that pauses your account for as long as you may need. FanDuel wants every bettor's experience to be about fun and entertainment. So visit FanDuel.com/playwell and make responsible gaming tools a part of your system. That website again, FanDuel.com/paywell. 21 plus and present in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808. You don't have to live in Indiana too long to know that winter means cold. Crazy cold. And winter can be hard on the siding of your home. You got to make sure your siding doesn't have any cracks or breaks, because those cracks can cause leaks and water damage can cost you a lot of money. Do not be worried. Moss Roofing is here to help. From inspections to full replacements, they have plans to fit any budget. Just ask about their payment options. Moss Roofing uses James Hardy siding. It's low maintenance, comes painted, and you get money back when you sell your home because it increases the value of your home. If you're in need of siding help, Moss Roofing is the contractor for you. Contact Moss Roofing at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com, or call 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665, or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
Still thinking about what to get her for Valentine's Day? Make that special occasion last forever and surprise her with a gift from Pierce Jewelers in Carmel. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains? We'll find that American Standard air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. My name is Nigel. Hammer's here. This is awesome. Iconic actor William Shatner, a.k.a. James T. Kirk, coming to Indy and Fort Wayne next month, doing a screening of Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan at Clues Hall. And then after the movie, he's going to come out on stage and tell behind-the-scenes stories, stuff about his career, and take questions from the audience. It's an honor to have William Shatner live on the DriveHubler.com hotline. Bill, how are you?
Oh, well, and thank you for that long introduction, because I am coming to that theater, and it is a wonderful evening in the theater. You really get your money's worth. This wonderful movie, all refurbished. Then I'll come out and help amuse and amaze everybody. So it's a wonderful evening of theater. You see a film, and then I'll come out and help out, and we have a great time. So I'm looking forward to seeing audiences in Indianapolis and Fort Wayne.
We'll talk definitely more about the screening, but I think we could start it in any number of areas with your career. But I think during your era, there were like 6 Star Trek movies. What is it about the Wrath of Khan that still resonates with fans to this day?
Well, it's simple. You know, Star Wars came out with all that paraphernalia, and then we came out with Star Trek the movie, and that had a lot of pizzazz. The secret behind the series, it seemed to me, was the great story that Star Trek would tell, and clever science fiction, and that was the reason for the success, in my opinion. So the Wrath of Khan harkens back to that history of a simple story, emotional, told simply, and not a great many special effects, and just human beings interacting, even though it's 300-400 years from now. They feel the same: love, horror, hate. All those basic emotions are felt so far in the past and so far in the future, because that's humanity. And the stories were human stories. And Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan is a human story, and it moves people all the time. And then after the film is over, I'll come out and try and keep the entertainment going. And so for that evening in the theater, you get film and me, and it's unique and different and rewarding.
So, William, when you say you keep the entertainment going, you've done these types of things before, and I know you go to conventions and there are screenings of Star Trek. How often do you get a question that you've never heard before?
Well, then you mean, do they ask me one giant question? No. Sometimes the questions are the same, and I may have a story about it or not, but if I'm on top of my game, what I'll do is in a more philosophical way, try and turn it to why we want to know weird. Why do we want to know weird questions and not questions about what's the most loving question? What's the most insightful question you've ever been? I mean, other words than what's the weird and what's the strangest question and what are you asked most of? I mean, why is that of interest? So that's the way I might turn the whole question around in the theater.
So we have our boss in studio, Mr. Shatner, and he is a big fan of your work. And this is rare. He never comes in. I don't think he likes our show, but he's here today just to speak to you. This is our boss, David.
Hello, Mr. Shatner. David. I wanted to make sure they treated you well.
No, they're just awful. Don't tell anybody, but golly, they ask the strangest questions. So, what's the strangest question? I mean, that's a strange question, man.
Well, hey, I'll ask you a question. I don't know if it's a strange question, but something that a couple of my friends that are big Star Trek fans have talked about before, that Wrath of Khan was the first movie we ever cried at. Do you get that?
Yeah, no, I think that's true. It's a very emotional film, and when when you love the characters, whether you've just met them from the opening credits or you know them over, in this case, 79 shows, what happens to them becomes a personal thing, and now you see it on the big screen, and the people you learn to love so many times over so many years has a problem. Then it's your problem, and you and the audience feel it deeply.
Yeah. In fact, I cried twice because it was when you guys were in engineering, when Spock was dying, and then your eulogy when your voice broke on his soul was the most human. I was like, oh, my God. And then, of course, I cried again during Generations when you died. And in spite of that, Star Trek's brought me a great deal of joy.
I just want to tell you this. The guys who work for you call you crier. Yeah. Here comes the weeper.
Yeah.
Apparently you're crying all the time.
What's the most famous scene in that movie, do you think? Is it the scene where Spock is dying, or is it the iconic moment when you look up into the sky and yell, Khan?
I didn't do that.
You did a lot better than I did.
No, that was pretty darn good. You won't be able to talk for a week. The truth of the matter is, I don't get to the theater until well into as the film is being. I mean, it's an hour and a half, so I don't have to sit backstage for an hour and a half. So I come in about 45 minutes before the end of the movie. And look around and see if there's anything to eat, and get some tea and make my way backstage. And then I hear the end credits. I know I'm just in time. So to say which is my favorite scene, I don't remember, Go ahead.
William Shatner coming to Fort Wayne, coming to Indy. The Indy show, March 12th at Clues Memorial Hall. So we're going to get you out of here with one more question from David because he is super fanning right now.
Here's
what I
want to know, David. What do you want to know?
It's about you. It's not about the show. And it's like, I think one of the most interesting things about you is that you're about to turn 70, right? You're about to turn 92 years old, and you don't look it, you don't sound it, you don't act it. How, I mean,
Can you go back to the first figure? Even that's a reprieve.
I mean, is it genetics? Is it the way you live? Is it luck of the draw?
No, I've got this pill. I'm marketing it right now. You can get 3 bottles. If you want 3 bottles,
you look great, though, man. You look like $1 million William.
Get one free, and then you order the one free, and before they'll complete your order and say, "We got another bottle for you for 10% off." No, I don't know what it is. It's just talking to guys like you. It flushes your face.
Well, you are a national treasure.
Oh, I'm going to be buried soon.
William Shatner, Star Trek II.
Buried treasure.
The Wrath of Khan. It's coming to Fort Wayne. There's a screening in Indianapolis. Tickets are available now. There's questions. There's fun. Everything that you want. William, we could go on for hours, but I know you got to run. Thank you for talking to us here in Indy.
Thank you. A pleasure. I hope I see you at the theater. Bye-bye.
William Shatner, the old brick Shat House on the phone there, right there.
He's a little surly guy.
I loved it. Bringing the heat, man. So we'll get that posted online at WIBC.com. Coming up next, we got to look at the news with Harrison Silcox.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Why the family wants the footage released. Mostly clear skies. 44 degrees in downtown Indy. You've got nothing on your radar at a low of 41 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:29. The attorney for the family of Anthony Macklin says he came home from a long road trip and decided to sleep in his grandma's driveway so he didn't have to wake her up.
And then he was awoken by a tapping on the window, turned to look at that tapping, and was met with a hail of gunfire.
Attorney Stephen Wagner says officers poured 30 rounds into the car, critically injuring Macklin, who did survive but needed 6 surgeries. Wagner also says IMPD's claim that the body cam footage is inconclusive is incorrect, and the family wants all of the footage released. A tort claim was filed against the city of Indianapolis and the officers involved. Indy Metro Police are looking for Grant Davis, a missing 31-year-old man who was last seen Sunday night in Oak Haven in the Inn and Oak Haven subdivision on the northeast side. Police say he's about 5'10", around 250 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. He could be in McCordsville or Whitestown. Give IMPD a call if you know anything. The White House says the flying of a suspected Chinese spy balloon over the U.S. is unacceptable.
China's, we believe, irresponsible action were visible for the American and the world to see.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre today said the Biden administration will continue to keep open lines of communication with China. It's up to the country on what kind of relationship it wants to have with the U.S. 2 people face charges in Maryland for making a plan to attack the city's power grid. Fox's Gernal Scott reports.
Sarah Beth Clendaniel and Brandon Clint Russell were charged federally with conspiracy for their plan to use guns to take out Baltimore gas and electric substations. FBI Special Agent in Charge Thomas Sobosinski cited Clendaniel's words on the effect of the attack.
It would lay this city to waste.
Clendaniel is from Maryland. Russell, who provided logistics, is from Florida. Agents say the attack would have cut critical power to homes, businesses, and hospitals. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
It's not supposed to feel like your typical February this week.
Pretty active week here. Obviously, the big story is we're still well above average. Going to have that spring-like feel.
Wish TV meteorologist Marcus Bailey says high temperatures will be in the 50s starting Tuesday. With traffic at 5:31, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, looking at eastbound 465, it's slow down. Keystone Avenue over to Allisonville Road, and it's inbound 65 right now, stop and go West Street to the North Split. South side, eastbound 465, slow from the White River over to Harding. Traffic sponsored by the Spring Suburban Indie Home Show. The Spring Suburban Indie Home and Outdoor Living Show offers free parking and $5 tickets at suburbanindieshows.com, February 10th through the 12th at Grand Park in Westfield. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
For tonight, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild. Low temperature around 40 degrees. Tomorrow, rain returns to the forecast. A few spotty showers early. High temperatures in the low 50s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC, powered by Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's lab-grown or mined diamond store.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the DriveUbler.com hotline.
The longtime and iconic voice of the Indiana Hoosiers is Don Fisher. Fish, before we get into the game this past weekend, you were honored, I believe, during the game on Saturday. 50 years behind the mic for the Hoosiers, my man. Congratulations.
Well, it just means you're old, guys. So, I literally, the first thing I said to the crowd was, I laid in bed last night trying to think what I was going to say, and then I realized I've been doing this for a half a century. You got to be kidding me. So at any rate, it was really nice. It was a nice tribute, and had all the guys that I'd have as color analysts on my broadcast, both football and basketball, out there, with the exception of Pete Campisi, who was in Florida on vacation, and the other guy was Royce Waltman, who was a terrific coach and obviously a former assistant to Coach Knight. He was our assistant or our color analyst for 4 years back in the 2000s, 2010 area, and just a great guy, but he passed away with bladder cancer. So anyway, everybody else was out there.
Yeah, and I'm personally just a big fan of yours. There's no way I could do in broadcasting what you do, and I'm sure it was awesome having the crowd cheer for you, and we always appreciate you making time for us here on the Hammer and Nigel show. And then the game. Wow.
Oh, by the way, there was a game on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a lot more important than my head.
Fish,
it was a special game. It really was.
All right, settle an argument that I had with my old man this past weekend. We were talking about rowdy, raucous crowds at Assembly Hall. What had more juice in it? This past Saturday, where Purdue comes in as the number one team in America, I think for the first time to Assembly Hall as number one, or when Kentucky rolled in a few years back, undefeated with the Watt shot. Which crowd had a little bit more juice to it?
You're asking me to say something that I can't possibly imagine, because both of those crowds were spectacular. And honestly, we've had a lot of spectacular crowds over the years. It really kind of started back when I started in 73. I saw my first Purdue game was Indiana-Purdue in Assembly Hall, and Indiana won it on a last-second block by Steve Green on Mike Steele's shot. John Laskowski just hit 2 free throws to give Indiana the lead, and the students stormed the court that day. And everybody's going, what? Students storming the court? I mean, that should never happen in Indiana. We expect to win. Oh, no. They've been charging the floor for a long time, trust me.
And that's another aspect of the conversation that I'm seeing all over social media. Maybe it's Purdue fans who are a little bitter, but are you okay with the court storming? If you consider yourself a blue blood of the sport, are you good with the court storming?
Well, I would prefer not to have it stormed, to be honest with you, but at the same time, I get it. These students, they're enamored with their school, with their program, with their players, those kinds of things. I get it 100%. So I'm not going to sit here and badmouth a bunch of kids that run out there and want to enjoy the moment. And I think it's special in that regard, too. So as much as an old curmudgeon that I am, I will say that I don't have a big problem with it either way, to be honest.
Iconic voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fisher, here on the Hammer and Nigel show. So talk about the start of the game. IU started out very strong, didn't they?
Played the best first half defense I've seen them play all year long. It was spectacular. They did a great job of taking Purdue out of what they wanted to do offensively, and they did a great job at the offensive end, knocking in shots, scoring 50 points in the first half. But the energy that they expounded in that first half, I think, took a little bit out of them. I think from an energy perspective, Indiana's defense wasn't as good in the second half, but it was still good enough. And you knew that Purdue was going to make a run, and they made adjustments at halftime. And Edey is so spectacularly good. People sit here and talk about Zach Edey like, he's not going to be in the NBA. Well, that's baloney. He's 7'4", 300 pounds. You can't move the guy, and he's got tremendous touch, and he's improved dramatically all 3 years he's been at Purdue, and he's playing tons of minutes this year, which people thought that can't happen because he's just too big to have that kind of energy level. But he's proving everybody wrong, and he's got a tremendous touch. I have a lot of great respect for this kid, and he just plays. There's no showboating. There's none of that stuff. He just plays, and he is really, really good.
Don, have you seen a player pick up a team like Trace Jackson Davis has done the last month and just carry them on his back? Have you seen anything like that during your time behind the mic?
I'm not sure that I have. I mean, I've seen some great players at Indiana, but, in the Bob Knight era, it was always role players and everybody playing their role, and it wasn't just one guy. And in this case, it's not just one guy, but he has taken that role on big time. There's no question in my mind that Trace is playing the best of his career. He is willing this team in some ball games to win, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of what he's been able to accomplish, and he's matured dramatically over his 4 years at Indiana. He's just a really great kid, number one, but number two, he's a heck of a basketball player.
Talk about Coach Woodson for a second, what he's been able to accomplish with this team ever since taking over as head coach.
Well, I mean, in his second year now, he's got him in third place in the league. Of course, there are 6 teams tied for third place right now, incidentally, in the Big Ten. But honestly, I think he's doing a great job with his team. I mean, these kids have bought into what he's selling. They believe in what he's preaching out there, what he wants them to do. It's not always easy. Execution's a critical thing, and you've got to be able to do it game in and game out. And some of these guys are pretty young, and they're learning. And look at the different guys he's, kind of had in the young guys that he has brought along this year. Caleb Banks, all of a sudden, in the last 3 games or so, has actually started to play some and getting opportunities and taking advantage of them. We saw that from Hood Schifino and Malik Renew early on. Renew kind of plateaued a little bit, where Hood Schifino has kind of been the guy since X has gone out of the ball game. And so he's a very mature kid and obviously a calm guy, a calm presence out there. And he's had his bad moments, too. He didn't score hardly at all in the Maryland ball game that Indiana got beat to end their 5-game winning streak, but then he comes back and has a phenomenal game against Purdue on Saturday. So what we're talking about here is development. Guys developing as the year goes on. And it's special to watch these guys and see them get better and then get their opportunity and take advantage of it.
I want to talk about the upcoming Rutgers game here in just a moment. Before we get to there, Fish, what's different now with this Indiana team that wasn't there a couple weeks ago when they lost at home to Northwestern, blown out on the road at Penn State, blew a huge lead at Iowa? What's changed?
Well, obviously, Race Thompson is back in the lineup because Race went out in that Iowa ball game just before halftime, and obviously that was the second starter that goes down, and you don't know when you're going to get the guy back. And I thought it took some steam out of this team psychologically. I really believe that. And then they also had, after they lost the third ball game, which was to Penn State, and got pounded by Penn State in that contest, They came back and they had a team meeting. It was a players-only meeting. I think Trace Jackson Davis called it. I might find that out more today if he was actually the guy that decided that was what was going to happen. But they had a team-only meeting, a players-only meeting, and all of a sudden, and of course, they really had a tough practice leading up to the Wisconsin game. I guess maybe one of those 3-hour jobs that nobody wants to be participating in. So at any rate, and Mike was pretty tough on him, to say the least, leading into that contest. Well, they all of a sudden they come out and they play with their hair on fire. And that's what we've been waiting to see on a consistent basis this year. And for the most part, since that Penn State ball game, they have played the best defense that they've played throughout much of this season, and the offense has come around as well. And they're having more and more guys contribute now. Trace is obviously the key guy. He has taken that team on his shoulders. But Tamar Bates has gotten better. Trey Galloway has been terrific most of the year. And in the starter's role, he just has gotten better and better. And Hood Schifino, of course, is a freshman that, we've talked about him all season, how good he is. But there are different people at almost every ball game that step up and give him some really positive minutes, and I think that's the key.
So tomorrow, the Hoosiers back in action, Rutgers coming to Assembly Hall. Now, I don't know how much you pay attention to this kind of stuff, but in the sports betting community, Don, we call this a trap game, where one team's coming off of a big game, and lo and behold, there's a quick turnaround against somebody that's already beaten you before. Give us a little preview of what we can expect tomorrow.
Well, I think it's going to be a very tough ball game, number one, because I think Rutgers might be as good a defensive basketball team as there is in the country, not just the Big Ten. I'm telling you, these guys are really, really good at the defensive end of the floor. And they've had guys that have just taken advantage of IU in the past. Obviously, Ron Harper Jr. And the Baker kid a couple of years ago. And now they've got Paul McCahey playing tremendously well at the point guard position. Caleb McConnell is a defensive presence that nobody is able to deal with almost in any ball game. And they beat Michigan State at Madison Square Garden this past weekend. They are in second place by themselves right now in the conference, and they have 6 straight wins over Indiana and have won 8 of the last 9 these two teams. Think about that for a while. So we're talking about a basketball team that Indiana has, or that they've had Indiana's number, and Indiana, I know, is sick of it. Trace has never beaten Rutgers in his 4 years at Indiana right now.
Wow.
And he wants it in the worst way. I know that.
Unbelievable. Tip-off is at 6:30, pregame 5:30, right here on 93 WIBC. Again, Fish, congratulations. 50 years on the mic for the Hoosiers.
Amazing.
And we're looking forward to that call tomorrow night.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Every small business owner knows business happens everywhere. The office, the warehouse, or on the road. And no matter where it takes you, there's one solution to help your business thrive. Comcast Business Complete Connectivity. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network with advanced gig speed Wi-Fi and cyber threat protection in one solution. Plus, add Comcast Business Mobile and you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. Get started for just $40 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add mobile. And ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card.
Flight 291 is now boarding.
Yep, you're going places. And when you get there, be ready to do business. The complete connectivity solution from the company that powers more small businesses than any other provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 100 megabits per second internet and Comcast Business Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi. Mobile savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
So Singer Financial is now Howard Bailey Financial. They're an Indiana-based retirement planning firm. They love helping other people with their retirement goals. Howard Bailey wants you to retire with purpose. They want you to have time to enjoy your life, but you have to know how to get there.
Whatever your vision of retirement is, whether that's staying here in Indy, maybe being a snowbird, going down to Florida for the winter months. Maybe it's work optional. Maybe it's just full-on retirement. Whatever you're looking for, the Howard Bailey team, they can turn that dream into a reality. Howard Bailey, they possess credibility at both an ethical and professional standpoint. So if you're ready to live your best life in retirement, they will customize a plan for you, and that's why they're the best in the business. Check them out. Go see the Howard Bailey difference. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities, LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Better sleep can change your life. That's because sleep is a core pillar of health, just like nutrition and exercise. So if you're not getting enough of it, ZQL invites you to take our Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Get weekly sleep tips and explore how ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, can help you. ZQuil's Better Sleep to Better Health Challenge. Visit ZQuil.com.
Find ZQuil at Walmart or Walmart.com and start your journey to better sleep today.
That kitchen or bath remodel you've been ready to start? With inflation rising, waiting is just going to make it more expensive. Start that remodel today. Hey, it's Tony Katz for Booher Remodeling. BOOHER. BooherRemodeling.com. Get on the schedule now to avoid some of those price increases. Booher Remodeling is the finest remodeler in Central Indiana with the best materials and most skilled craftsmen. They'll guide you through the entire process to make your vision come to life. Go to BooherRemodeling.com to set up your free consultation. BooherRemodeling.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
Matt Baer has a look at the roads.
Inbound 65 slows out of west to the north split, and then northeast side, eastbound 465 still stop and go Keystone Avenue to the White River, then it lets up. Traffic sponsored by Howard Bailey Financial. Focus on what you can control by designing your retirement plan. Howard Bailey can help. Call 317-852-9153 to get started. Investment advice offered through Howard Bailey Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
44 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Right, another hour of the Hammer and Nigel show coming up after 6 o'clock. Everything you need to know about the Chinese spy balloon. And as much of an embarrassment and as a disaster as this debacle was, Hammer, I can only hope there was military surveillance, like a reconnaissance plane following this spy balloon, taking in information, spying on the people that are spying on us, recording what's coming out of that thing, and maybe we'll be able to glean some information that way. That's the only part of it that I hope could be somewhat redeeming.
I have such little faith in anything Joe Biden's in charge of, including our military at this point. Like, it feels like our military is more focused on what pronouns the balloon preferred as opposed to getting the actual secrets off of it.
And now, the lying's changed. The narrative's changed. They said, Trump knew about all these balloons during his administration and didn't do anything about it. And now the narrative's changed to, we just found out about these supposed balloons during the Trump administration and are just now letting you know about it. It's the whole narrative, the whole lot. It's all crap, and we'll fill you in after 6 o'clock. Now, real quick, this guy's a hero, UPS driver, getting credit for saving a 76-year-old woman's life when she fell into a creek in her backyard, freezing temperatures. He pulled her out while he was delivering her package to her house.
Wow!
Like just so she just happened to be there. Here is the driver, and then the woman that fell in the creek talking about it.
Kind of put my arms under her and cradled her and said, okay, baby, let's go. And up we went. I don't know anyone at one time or another does not need help for something.
Another 10 minutes and I would have been a goner.
She's not just a customer now. She's also a friend.
I mean, what a coincidence. You just happen to be delivering a package. I mean, God was smiling down on her that day, man.
Right place, right time. And the line stuck out to me, and we say this a lot during the Radiothon. Everybody needs a little help once in a while, whether it's when you're younger, whether it's when you're older, or in a situation like this.
By the way, listen to this again here.
Kind of put my arms under her and cradled her and said, okay, baby, let's go.
What a misogynist, sexist pig he is.
How dare you touch her? Did you ask consent first? Did you ask consent before saving her life?
Okay, more of the Hammer and Nigel show coming up after 6 o'clock. It's 93 WIBC. We'll be right back. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance.
If you don't live near a Low T Center or just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started on